Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku's heart was captured by a new neighbor part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content. And leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. So let's start the video. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 was getting just a little bit tired of Denki taking forever to do what he and 𝗵𝘃𝗀 had been urging him to do. And halfway through English class that September afternoon, Midoriya clenched a determined fist on his desk and decided that it was time for action. While Present Mike was busy writing more boring verbs on the chalkboard and singing them out loud, Midoriya gave 𝗵𝘃𝗀 a nod to say, "I'm gonna do it." Then he got out a piece of paper and scribbled a message on it. "Oh yeah, so this word's walk, and this little number is run, and this one's my favorite, it's think." "Oh yeah," Present Mike said, writing the words with way too much flourish. Meanwhile, with his back turned, Midoriya folded up his message into a paper airplane, took aim, and tossed it right at Denki's head. Thunk! The airplane hit right on target, and Denki flinched at the sudden impact. He fumbled with the paper and nearly dropped it, and turned to see who had thrown it. Midoriya pretended to be interested in the little songbird singing outside the classroom window. "Midoriya," Ida hissed. His glasses panes flashed. "Are you passing notes?" "Just one, I promise," Midoriya muttered back. He normally didn't cause a big ruckus in class, but heck, one little thing wouldn't hurt. And if he didn't do it, 𝗵𝘃𝗀 would, and Denki would have a proper dent in his skull. Ida scoffed but otherwise turned his attention back to the lesson. Behind him, Gyro snorted with laughter. Meanwhile, 𝗵𝘃𝗀 and Midoriya watched carefully as Denki unfolded the airplane message and read it. At once, Denki turned bright red and gave Midoriya a scandalized look. "It's too soon, 𝗧𝗍𝗂," he blurted out, and way too loud. 𝗵𝘃𝗀 clapped the heel of his palm against his forehead. "Dumbass. Whoa, did I hear a little negative talk?" Present Mike said dramatically as he turned around, treating the chalk like a mic. "Was that you, Denki Kaminari?" More students giggled as Denki tried to save face. The blonde lightning boy hid the paper airplane just before the teacher saw it, but the spotlight was still on him. Speak up, boyo," Present Mike said, cupping a hand near his ear. I can't inflect all these verbs," Denki said half-heartedly. "English is kinda hard." "Everything's hard for him to grasp," Gyro muttered. And this time, it was Minda who snorted in laughter. Present Mike offered a hand. "Step on stage and try it, little Denki," he offered. "Be a star." "Little," Denki bristled. "Just come up and do it." "Yeah." Denki looked to Yaoyorozu or Shoto for help, but he was on his own. So, he slouched his way up to the chalkboard. "Inflect play to the past tense," Present Mike said. With trembling hands, Denki wrote his answer on the board. The whole class burst out laughing. "Oh, swing and a miss," Present Mike said. "Son, you wrote peppered. That's not even close." Denki hung his head. "But, try grow." Denki ended up with gown. "Or wash. Wish." "Okay, maybe next time," Present Mike said, and he actually patted Denki on the head before the mortified student hurried back to his seat. As Present Mike turned back to the chalkboard, Denki whirled around in his seat. "What the hell?" he mouthed. Midoriya merely gave him a sympathetic look and 2 thumbs up for encouragement while 𝗵𝘃𝗀 was trying not to have an aneurysm holding back his laughter. After school let out that day, Denki was still pretty riled up when he joined Midoriya and 𝗵𝘃𝗀 on their way across the school's front grounds. "That was totally uncool," Denki cried, now that it was actually safe to raise his voice. "Midoriya, I thought you were on my side." Midoriya gave Denki a friendly pat on the back. "I am, Denki. I can tell you need a little push, so I gave it to you." "Yeah, but what about that fiasco in class?" Denki insisted. "And wait a minute. I don't need a little push from you guys. I'm fine." "Doubt it," 𝗵𝘃𝗀 said snidely. He had his school bag slung over his shoulder like usual, trying to look cool as his tie was jostled in a sudden breeze. Denki made a frustrated noise. "You're just pulling my leg, aren't you?" 𝗵𝘃𝗀 pointed up ahead. "If you're such a big shot. There she is. Make your move." Both Denki and Midoriya looked ahead at a chattering group of girlfriends, where Tsuyu, Gyro, Yaoyorozu, Itsuka Kendo, and most importantly of all, Mina Ashido were chattering happily. Midoriya watched as Mina laughed at one of Itsuka's jokes, not a care in the world. She radiated cheer and warmth. No wonder Denki was into her. Denki was already cherry red again. "Hey, no sweat. Watch me. He ain't gonna do it," 𝗵𝘃𝗀 commented as Denki raced ahead to greet the girls. "He's gonna make it," Midoriya said. "I have a good feeling about this time." 𝗵𝘃𝗀 huffed. "You sure give that lightning dumbass a lot of credit." Meanwhile, Denki got the girls' attention and they stopped to listen to him, so Midoriya and 𝗵𝘃𝗀 halted to give them a little space. "Come on, stick the landing," Midoriya urged Denki as he watched the lightning boy chat up Mina Ashido. "Any second now." The girls all laughed out loud as Mina made an apologetic face and motioned at Denki. And the lightning boy hung his head just like in class. He just stood there as the girls moved on, already chattering again. Midoriya and 𝗵𝘃𝐲 caught up with Denki and they resumed their usual walk home. I knew it, 𝗵𝘃𝐲 started. Hey, at least he tried, Midoriya cut in. Right, find me a decent hole in the ground, Denki moaned, so I can climb into it and vanish. 𝗵𝘃𝐲 gave Denki a pretty rough clap on the back. Buck up, pal. There's always next time. What next time? Denki howled. They all laughed at me. And it goes without saying that Mina said no. Asking girls out ain't easy. Why do you think pickup artists exist? 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said. Denki scowled. To be sleazy. No, to show us amateurs how it's done, 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said with satisfaction as the three boys rounded a corner in the idyllic neighborhood. Overhead, a plane flew far overhead. Like Shoji. Denki said in disbelief. That doesn't count. He only got Yaoyorozu to go out with him once, and they decided to be just friends afterwards. 𝗵𝘃𝐲 made a nasty grin. Which makes him a god compared to you. Denki's hysterical response wasn't fit for sane human ears. And speaking of which, 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said, wincing, check it out, Midoriya. She's here again. Oh no. Midoriya recognized that cunning, fox-like stare that peeked over the hedges up ahead. Run, Midoriya cried. The three boys raced past that property just as a certain girl erupted from behind the hedge. Izuku, darling, she cried. I've been waiting for you. Come back. No way, Midoriya cried over his shoulder. Himiko Toga waved her arms. I can't go on without you, Izuku, because I love you. Hear that? 𝗵𝘃𝐲 teased. Better go back. You first. The three boys got lucky. Toga only chased them for one block before slinking off. I'll see you tomorrow, Izuku darling. Toga cried, blowing a kiss. Midoriya would have sighed if her weren't out of breath. Class 1 degrees Celsius. Has the craziest people, so you're not gonna hit that, 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said with a straight face. Midoriya jolted. Hey, language. What a prude. 𝗵𝘃𝐲's eyes widened as the boys turned another corner to where Midoriya's house was. Hey, what's up with all that? Midoriya spotted the moving van parked in the driveway of the empty house next to his, and he also spotted two moving men carrying a large dresser down the truck's ramp. That dresser looked like the kind a girl would have. Hey, new neighbors, 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said. They'd better not be lame. That's mean, Denki commented. Let's meet them, Midoriya offered. It'll just take a minute. 𝗵𝘃𝐲 shrugged. Why not? Midoriya brought his two friends to the front door and knocked. Who is it? A man's voice answered right before he swung the door open. The man standing there had light brown hair and stylish stubble on his jaw, and looked pretty friendly. He saw the three boys and waved hello. Oh, good afternoon. Can I help you? Midoriya smiled and pointed at the house to the left. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I live with my mom over there in house 14. Nice to meet you. Katsuki 𝗵𝘃𝐲. 𝗵𝘃𝐲 muttered as he glanced away, clearly not interested. Denki Kaminari. Nice to meet you, too, Denki said cheerily, earning him a scathing look from 𝗵𝘃𝐲. Nice to meet you kids. I'm Daisuke Uraraka, the man said. I just moved here for work with my wife and daughter. They're still busy with the move, though. He brightened. In fact, my daughter is around her age. You'll probably see her at school tomorrow. Can we meet her? Midoriya blurted out, then mentally winced. Why was he being so forward? Mr. Uraraka looked skeptical. Well, we're still busy, Dad. Who are you talking to? A girl's voice said. And a brunette young woman Midoriya's age came down the house's stairs, dressed lightly in jean shorts and a pink top. New neighbors, Mr. Uraraka said warmly. This is Midoriya, who lives next door, and his friends live around here, too. Let's try and get along with them, okay? I'm Denki, Denki said just as cheerily as before. Katsuki 𝗵𝘃𝐲, the gruff boy said in the same tone as earlier. Come on, Dad, let them in. They look so nice. The girl said. I'll show them around. I mean, I was gonna try and meet the neighbors soon anyway. All right, Mr. Uraraka stepped back. Welcome, boys. Just make sure the moving men can get around you. They're still busy. Thanks. Midoriya couldn't stop grinning as he and his friends followed the girl up the stairs, probably to her room. I'm Achako Uraraka, the girl said over her shoulder. I'm gonna be your classmate. Oh, you'll love our school, Midoriya said eagerly. Everyone's so cool and friendly. And the teachers are great, and... Achako giggled. Hey, I'm already enrolled. You don't have to sell it. Midoriya felt himself go red. I just meant. I'm just teasing. Thanks for welcoming me. Achako smiled and led the boys to the upstairs landing. I already have some of my stuff unpacked. Come and see. Denki looked shocked. You're letting dudes into your room. Oh come on, I'm not shy, Achako said, leading them inside. Make yourselves at home. Nothing scary in here, I promise. She was right, although her bed wasn't in here yet. Achako had set up several framed photos on the walls. One of a hyacinth in sunset light, one of a cliff face, and one of a set of old-fashioned power tools. She also had a large, fancy desk set up which had a vase of flowers on one side, a painted clay cup with pens and pencils in it, and a laptop turned partly away from where Midoriya stood. Achako also had a charming, white painted bookshelf in one corner with a bunch of random hardback and paperback volumes stacked in it, a weird mix of technical manuals, shoujo manga volumes, and travel guides. Midoriya tried to save face. So, where are you afar? He started, only to be interrupted by several loud voices. Achako, who are those guys? A girl's disembodied voice cried, and Midoriya let out a terrified yelp. Ghosts, he cried. Bakugo snorted. Dude, it's the new girl's friends on Skype. Look, he pointed at the laptop on the desk, and Midoriya moved over to see that 4 girls were all crowded together on the screen, all of them eyeing the boys curiously. Oh, Achako winced. Sorry, I almost forgot. I was chatting with my friends from my old school, just checking in. Ooh, Achako, you're bold as ever, one of the girls said in a teasing tone. Hey, what's that blonde hottie's name? Bakugo and Denki looked at each other in confusion. They were both blonde, after all. Is he one of the neighbors? Another girl asked eagerly. Which one? Achako asked. The green-haired guy's not bad either, another girl added slyly before Achako stomped over to the laptop and shut it. Oops, lost my internet connection, she said, clearly annoyed. Your friends sure are nosy, Bakugo commented. Don't mind them. They're always pulling stuff like that. Achako smiled again. Anyway, I came here from my prefecture with my family. Mom and Dad have a construction business, and there's some good contracts here my mom found, so here we are. She spread her arms wide. Well, except Kuro. He's staying in his crate for now. Who? Midoriya asked. He suddenly pictured some poor guy trapped in a shipping crate for some reason. My dog. I got him just last year, Achako said brightly. She clasped her hands together under her chin and started daydreaming. My dad bought him for my birthday. He's this big black German shepherd with the biggest heart in the world. Sounds like he could beat Midoriya in a fight, Bakugo joked. Izuku's scared of dogs, you see. I am not, Midoriya snapped. You ran away from a Shiba Inu. I saw it. It was freaking me out. My point exactly, chum. Achako giggled again. What about you guys? How's school? What's fun to do around here? Besides the arcade, swimming pools, and new movie theater with rumble seats, Bakugo said with a sly grin. Not a whole lot, actually, which is why Izuku and I like to make our own fun. It sounds illegal when you put it like that, Denki said. I mean, we poke around the outskirts on our bikes and explore sometimes, Bakugo said. We like to watch the world breathe. At least, that's the lame way Izuku puts it. He offered a casual grin. Achako looked impressed. That sounds really cool. Can I come sometime? You got a bike? Bakugo asked. No, but I can beg my dad to buy me one, Achako said with a grin just as sly as Bakugo's. I like to play basketball, Denki offered. But no one was listening. And at that moment, a woman's voice called up the stairs. Achako, dear, please come on and help. We have a lot of boxes to move. Okay, Mom. Achako called back. She smiled. Sorry, guys, but we've got to keep unpacking, or I'll have to sleep on a cardboard box tonight. Sorry, Midoriya said automatically, anything to keep this girl smiling. Achako led the 3 boys down the stairs into the front door. Oh, I almost forgot, she said. What are your quirks? Explosion, Bakugo said with relish. Lightning, Denki said. I don't have one, Midoriya admitted. Oh, it looked like Achako wanted to reassure him, but tactfully decided not to comment on it. Mine's 0 gravity. I would use it to help these poor moving guys, but I can't control it very well yet. Mom doesn't want me using it until I get formal training after I graduate high school. Sounds like fun, Denki said. Bakugo merely grunted. See you guys tomorrow, Achako said, waving happily as Denki and Bakugo crossed the Uraraka family's front lawn and across the street. Midoriya moved to cross the threshold, but Achako held his shoulder. Hang on a minute, she said. Midoriya blinked. Me? Yes, I just gotta ask you something, Achako said bashfully, going pink in the face. If you don't mind. Midoriya's heart raced as he did a victory lap in his mind. Here it comes. Achako beamed. Your friend Bakugo. Is he single? Homeroom with Mr. Aizawa would have been routine like it usually was. But today had a fun twist in store when Mr. Aizawa cleared his throat. Students, he said in his usual indifferent mumble, we have a transfer student today. Please make her feel welcome. Yes, a girl, Minda muttered to himself, pumping his fists. Please tell me she's a busty maiden. Aizawa either didn't notice or simply didn't mind, because he merely slid open the door and motioned for someone to come in. Midoriya grinned and sat up straight, knowing exactly what was coming. He nodded to Bakugo, who shrugged and made what's the big deal face. Achako Uraraka was the big deal. That's what. Hi, everyone. I'm Achako Uraraka, the new girl said with a big smile, standing next to Aizawa at the front of the room. I moved here with my mom and dad from my prefecture, and I can't wait to make friends with you all. My quirk is 0 gravity, but I try not to use it. Dad says I could put someone's eye out. A few students chuckled politely while Midoriya felt a big, silly smile to match 𝐒𝐻𝐵's spreading across his face. Yesterday, this new girl had totally dodged his passionate interest. But heck, just having her around brightened his day. He wasn't the type to just sulk. Usually not. That is, 𝗵𝗲, meanwhile, was already salivating. So Midoriya made a mental note to tell Denki to give him a good sap later. You can take any of the empty seats, Aizawa said. Go ahead. 𝗂𝐻𝐵 slowly stepped forward, a finger on her chin as she looked around. Then she hurried over and settled into the empty desk next to Midoriya's. What? She's not sitting next to Bakugo. Midoriya tried not to blurt this out. After all, there was an empty seat right behind him. If she was so into Bakugo, why not? Hi again, 𝗂𝐻𝐵 said to Midoriya, smoothing her uniform's jacket. Let's be good neighbors. Class neighbors and regular neighbors, Midoriya commented lightly, unsure where 𝗂𝐻𝐵 was going with this. It's a pleasure. Actually, I don't know what this is. 𝗂𝐻𝐵 merely smiled again. 2 minutes later, the fun part started. You look kinda tired, Mina, who sat in the front row, told Aizawa. Did you stay up last night? Somewhat. Graded papers, Aizawa said, rubbing his eyes. You should just take a minute, 𝗧𝗍 recommended with false innocence. Recharge before your other duties. If you lot behave yourselves, Aizawa said. Everyone nodded eagerly. Fine. Go straight to your next class when the bell rings, Aizawa said, then promptly unfolded his favorite yellow sleeping bag, crawled in, and started making Z's. There was a loud rustle as everyone got out loose notebook paper and started scribbling on it. What's going on? 𝗂𝐻𝐵 asked Midoriya, until he gently shushed her, wrote a quick note, and passed it. 𝗂𝐻𝐵 read his note. Aizawa can hear us if we talk. But if we pass notes, we can say anything we want and play games on paper. Stuff that would get us in big trouble. And some of us draw dirty pictures, but I promise I won't. Midoriya made a small, funny shrug when 𝗂𝐻𝐵 looked up from the note in disbelief. What the she started. But Midoriya held a finger to his lips and pointed at the paper. 𝗂𝐻𝐵 made a nervous grin as she wrote something and passed it back. Midoriya read her new line. No one at my old school did this. Won't we get in trouble? There's a super strict cell phone rule here, Midoriya wrote back. But paper notes don't even get us detention. So this in case another teacher comes in and sees us. Present Mike even once gave someone extra credit for a really good drawing. 𝗂𝐻𝐵 hit a giggle and wrote back, okay, this is fun. I'm not such a bad artist myself. Should I draw you a picture? Before Midoriya could happily write back, 𝗵𝗲 crumpled a paper into a ball and tossed it expertly onto 𝗂𝐻�'s desk. Looking curious, she unfolded it and immediately went red in the face. Midoriya stole a glance, and his gentlemanly mind automatically put black censor bars all over it. Dude, Midoriya swiped the paper, crumpled it into a tighter ball, and threw it hard at 𝗵𝗲's face. 𝗵𝗲 yelped as it smacked against his nose. Bakugo, meanwhile, crumpled up his own paper and tossed onto Midoriya's desk. Midoriya unfolded that sucker and read, Hey Deku, how good is your English? Try this. The rest was a hangman game, ready for play. Hey, that looks like fun, Denki whispered in the seat behind Midoriya's and to the left. Let me help. You have the worst grades in English for the class, Midoriya wrote back. Please, Denki wrote back in katakana. Fine. The secret phrase had 5 short words. 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵. Midoriya guessed the letter T and tossed the paper back. Success. When Bakugo tossed the paper back, Midoriya noted that 2 T's had appeared. He was now dealing with TT. What should he do next? He passed the paper so Denki could take a turn. What the? When Midoriya got the paper back, he saw that Denki had guessed Q, and that earned him the hangman's head. Midoriya rolled his eyes and passed Denki a note. Hey, Q is one of the rarest letters in English. Shucks, I didn't know that. Which is why I should finish this. Please. Midoriya didn't have it in him to turn down those sad puppy eyes. So, Midoriya next guessed the letter E, and the result now read TTE. What was next? Midoriya passed the paper to Denki, who guessed the letter XHAHA. Denki's an idiot. Bakugo wrote won the paper when he passed it back. He also drew a smiley face making a taunting expression. Midoriya forced Denki to sit back down when the other boy rose in anger. And he took his next guess, G. Now he had TTEJ. And he made sure Denki's eager hands couldn't get the paper as he kept guessing letters. F and B didn't appear, but W and L did. And now, Midoriya scratched his head as he contemplated TTEWGL. Watch out, Takoyami hissed. And the entire class went on high alert as Aizawa twitched and muttered in his sleep. No, I have enough hammers. Watch the bear, Aizawa mumbled in his sleep, and he rolled over to face away from the class. 𝗂𝐻𝐵 was red in the face as she clapped a hand over mouth to hide her laughter. Midoriya gave her the thumbs up and kept guessing those letters. He wasn't the best at English either, but Bakugo had such a sly look on his face, Midoriya just had to crack this code. The letters M, V, and C all failed, and Midoriya was nearly out of guesses. But he doubled down and got a few more correct guesses, and now he nearly had the whole thing, trying to remember his decent but not great English vocabulary. "Ves out the new GRL. I can't help it. I'm too curious," 𝐒𝐴𝐵 whispered as she gently took the paper from Midoriya's hands. "I'm not bad at English. Let me try." Midoriya gave her another thumbs up. "I got it," 𝐒𝐴𝐵 whispered once she finished. "This reads, Midoriya looked over her shoulder and nearly had a heart attack. 𝐾𝐠𝐶HAN. No, he thought in panic. Red alert, red alert. He swiped the paper back and stared in mingled shock and embarrassment at the phrase "ask out the new girl." He didn't have to be a qualified interpreter to know what that sentence said. Those Roman letters were clear as day. Now it was 𝗵𝘃𝐲 who was stifling his riotous laughter behind his hand. And to make matters worse, Denki seized the paper and tossed it around to find someone who could read it. At once, he struck gold. 𝗧𝗏 translated the sentence, wrote copies, and sent a memo about to everyone except the new girl in question. There was so much stifled giggling that even Aizawa was startled out of his nap. "Bananas," he blurted out as he woke up. He scratched his head. "Why is everyone laughing?" "No reason, monsieur," Aoyama said in a sing-song voice. Aizawa got to his feet and scowled. "Are you lot laughing at me? My difficult sleep schedule is not a joke." "Wouldn't dream of it, Professor," 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said snidely. Aizawa grunted. "I swear, you kids are gonna be the death of me." It was pretty lucky for everyone that the bell for the first class rang, and Midoriya was the first one to bolt out the door before anyone could start a scene. He swore he had steam coming out of his ears as he rocketed down the hall toward the art history classroom. "Kaken, you're the one who's gonna be the death of me." The morning classes were only slightly awkward in the wake of homeroom. Thank goodness, and by lunch, Midoriya was finally able to relax and share a table with 𝗵𝘃𝐲, Denki, and Mina, and somehow, neither Denki nor Mina caught on to Midoriya's and 𝗵𝘃𝐲's hints that they, too, should go out. It was just too fun to tease them and test them, but one of these days, someone had to spell it out for them. The afternoon's classes went without a hitch, but Midoriya was getting nervous. Today was the day when he'd finally suck it up, be a grown-up, and take that final step. "Let's do this, Deku," 𝗵𝘃𝐲 said, draping an arm over Midoriya's shoulders as both boys bravely made their way to the soccer field, where tryouts for the team were still taking place. Their high school was unusual. The soccer coach let students try out for the team at any time during the year instead of just once, and for good reason. The soccer team captain blew his whistle. "All right, boys and girls, we've got some fresh meat here. Let's wish them luck as they try their absolute best." Midoriya and 𝗵𝘃𝐲 weren't alone. They joined a crowd of around 15 more students who wanted to get on the prestigious soccer team, and the muscly-bound coach Toshinori Yagi clapped a few times to welcome them and offered a dazzling smile. "Okay, everyone's here. Great," Coach Yagi cried. "Now, on the count of 3, say we can do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We can do it." He roared those last 4 words and thrust a fist in the air. Silence surrounded him. "That was so cold," Coach Yagi said sadly, hugging himself and looking away. "Kids these days have no spirit. It's a real shame." 𝗵𝘃𝐲 grunted. "Come on, coach, I have a team to join." Coach Yagi recovered at once. "Now that's what I'm talking about. Spirit," he cried. "Let's see who's got what it takes to join my team." The students spread on the field to prepare, and one of the current team members jogged over to Midoriya, a certain familiar girl. "Izuku, darling," Himiko Toga cheered as she wrapped him a tight hug. "I knew you'd come and see me. I am trying out for the team." Midoriya gasped in the girl's tight grasp. Coach Yagi peeled Toga off of Midoriya. "Now, let's save the celebrations for after he gets on the team," the coach said. "Oh, I know he'll get on the team. So we can be together forever," Toga said, making a bashful look as she gently ran her fingers down her face, but the hungry glint in her eyes sent shivers down Midoriya's spine. This had better work. Midoriya wasn't sure how Coach Yagi was going to test the students' skills in soccer, and once the tryout started, he realized that the coach didn't even have a plan. He just let everyone from both the team and the tryout group run around in a semi-formal game, while Coach Yagi wrote stuff down on his clipboard, nodding to himself a few times. "Deku, quick!" 𝗵𝘃𝐲 finally got the ball and passed it to Midoriya, who already had a solid plan in mind. He got the ball and angled for the goal, but a student from Class 1B intercepted him, then another, and he lost it. And the rest of the game didn't go so well, either. Midoriya and 𝗵𝘃𝐲 tried to coordinate, but despite it all, the existing teammates were too good, and the others trying out weren't helping much. Until Toga came along. "Deku, darling, I've got you," Toga cried, and she actually tackled 2 students to the grass to clear Midoriya's way. "That's cheating," Midoriya blurted. "Just kick it, my sweet." "Fine." Midoriya kicked the ball and landed that goal. 𝗵𝘃𝐲 spat. "She could stand to help me, too." But she didn't. Toga threw all the rules out the window and kept tripping people or grabbing the ball with her bare hands. and Coach Yagi totally failed to notice. But he did have another opinion. Students, I must say. He started dramatically once the game ended and everyone gathered around him. You all fail. Not enough skill or passion to make the team. All the tryout students groaned, most of all Bakugo. Give me another try, he demanded. I'll kill it this time. Sorry, kiddo, but that was it for today, Coach Yagi said. I'm sorry. He has really high standards. You know, a team member consoled Midoriya, a girl from Class 1B named he recognized as Itsuka Kendo. Don't feel bad. Maybe next time. Yeah, I guess, Midoriya said with a shrug. Then he noticed the small crowd of students watching on the bleachers, including Ochako. When did she get here? Hi, Midoriya said, waving to her. Sorry I didn't do a better job out there. Don't worry about it. I had fun watching, Ochako said, waving back. And just before Midoriya could say something back, Toga caught up and wrapped him in another hug. It's okay. I still love you, she said coyly into his ear. You'll always be mine, Deku darling. Midoriya felt himself freezing like a deer in headlights as Ochako took in this whole scene. Why did these things have to happen to him? Sure, he managed to choke out. Ochako got up and beamed. Oh, I didn't realize that you two were together. Wait, Midoriya cried. Toga merely held him tighter and giggled. Ochako started climbing down the bleachers. I've got homework to catch up on. I'll see you at class tomorrow, Midoriya. Or is it Deku? Izuku Midoriya. The poor boy cried, but Ochako was barely listening. I'll leave you lovebirds alone, Ochako said with a wink. Don't let me interrupt. She turned and walked off. Come back tomorrow. Toga cooed in Midoriya's ear. I'll make sure you get on the team, darling. You and me. I have to go study. See ya. Midoriya used a burst of strength to pry free and sprint away before Toga could catch up. But he couldn't outrun the torment in his young heart. Okay, it's no big deal. It's fine. Midoriya consoled himself in his bedroom that Sunday afternoon, seated on the edge of his bed, taking a deep breath to soothe his racing heart. People do this all the time. No one answered, but a few songbirds right outside his window were chirping away. They had better not be mocking him. Bakugo, Toga, Denki, Mina. He could already imagine their reactions if Midoriya managed to do this. Bakugo would give a manly nod of approval. Toga would freak out, Denki would give a derpy thumbs up, and Mina would eagerly ask for the juicy details, being the gossip queen she was. And most of all, what would his mom think? Here goes. Midoriya unlocked his smartphone and typed in a text message, mouthing it as he went. He braced himself and hit send. A minute later, a response popped up, and the sudden chime nearly made Midoriya drop his phone in shock. He fumbled with it and hastily read the message, his eyes going wide. Yes. 2 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Izuku, someone's at the door, his mom called out from the kitchen while she was making lunch. Could you get it, please? Be right there, Mom. Midoriya sprang off his bed, swung his bedroom door open, and practically waltzed to the front door. Today, he would set everything straight and realize his dreams, assuming he didn't botch things like he usually did. Best not to think about that. Good afternoon, Midoriya said as he swung the door open to greet his favorite neighbor. Nice to see you again. Hi, Ochako said happily. She was dressed casually and slender, knee-length jeans and a striped, sleeveless shirt in the warm afternoon, with plain leather sandals on her feet. Look, I brought a little something. Hey, this is great. Thanks. Midoriya's heart raced again when he accepted a small wooden basket from her and checked out the homemade desserts inside. Peach cobbler, apple pie, and traditional matcha. Heck yeah. It's a neighborly gift, Ochako said. My dad thinks it's proper. Why yeah. Good for him, Midoriya said, losing his cool at once and going right into flustered territory. I'll eat these all. I mean, my mom too. She's here. Can I come in? Midoriya jumped. Oh yeah. I kept you standing there like a... Here, come in. Mom, I've got company. Ochako changed into guest house slippers as she stepped inside and shut the door behind her, taking in the place. Ooh, it's so nice in here, she said, seeing the white painted bookshelves, the framed photos of flowers, and the hat rack. It kinda reminds me of my grandmother's house. She's the sweetest old lady. And now I'm her grandmother, Midoriya thought dismally, until he snapped himself back into shape. Yeah, here's my mom. Welcome, Ochako, 𝗏𝐻𝐻 said warmly from the kitchen. I'm 𝗏𝐻𝐻 Midoriya. Nice to meet you, Ochako said cheerily. I promise I won't stay too long. Oh, nonsense. Stay as long as you like, 𝗏𝐻𝐻 told her. You could even stay for dinner. Mom, let me handle things, Midoriya thought, mortified. He gently took hold of Ochako's shoulders and steered her to his room. How'd you like to see my room? I'd love to, Ochako said, waving goodbye to 𝗏𝐻𝐻 as she stepped inside. Meanwhile, Midoriya closed the door and hoped against hope that this would be his moment as Ochako took the place in. He was even dressed for the occasion, with his fancy black slacks, long-sleeved white button shirt, and a suit vest. Bakugo once told Midoriya that this outfit made him look like a valet, and Midoriya once told him to shut up. It's nice and cozy in here. Very warm, 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 said simply. I could totally see you studying in here, Deku. It's the perfect environment. What, just studying? Midoriya cleared his throat and made a bashful grin. I think of it as my private estate, somewhere where I can be me with no worry. He mentally kicked himself. What a dumb way to put it. I think so, too, 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 said, but Midoriya could have sworn he heard a disappointed note in her voice. She looked around the place, from the desk cluttered with homework to the simple brass lamp beside it to the twin-size bed to the short bookcase to the souvenir poster of Mount Fuji on the wall next to the window. As so, Midoriya cleared his throat. You showed me your room, so here's mine. It's only fair. Yeah, and you're sure dressed politely, 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 commented. Going somewhere fancy later. The rest of my clothes are in the laundry, Midoriya invented. Sorry, I don't mind. You looks nice. Minor victory. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 sat on the edge of his bed and smiled, and she gently swung her feet back and forth. So, you and 𝗵𝘃𝗲. She went pink and giggled. Why yeah, you guys are best friends, aren't you? 𝗵𝘃𝗲. They were talking about Kaken now. Sure, Midoriya said, sitting on his desk chair. Somehow, it didn't feel right to sit next to this dreamy girl when she was talking about another dude. We met when we were 4. His mom was saying how he needed a good influence in his life, and his dad agreed. Let's say that at first, they both got their eyebrows singed off. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 giggled again. What a bad boy. What happened next? She actually likes bad boys. I was kinda the athletic type, especially since I never developed a quirk, so Kaken liked my tough spirit and decided that I was worth hanging out with. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 tilted her head. He looked down on you, Jay, just at first. I swear we're really friends. Equals. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 smiled. I'm glad. He's so nice, even if he acts tough. He cares about his friends, doesn't he? Sure. We both learned to ride bicycles together, and once we met Denki and Mina in middle school, we started our own club. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 stared. You're kidding. You mentioned exploring town, but your own official club. No, we just hang out, Midoriya said bashfully. But yeah, every weekend. We ride around town and visit the rural areas and see what's fun to do. There was this one time we rode to the next town, and it got so late we decided to pool our cash and stayed in one room at a motel. It's a miracle they even let us stay there without an adult supervising us. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 giggled behind her hand. That's so cool. I wish I had a group like that to hang out with. What? My family moves a lot for business, 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 admitted. I mean, I had some friends at my old school, but I knew it wouldn't last. Not in person, at least. What was Midoriya's move here? Comfort her. Laugh it off. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 smiled. Is 𝗵𝘃𝗲 like your ringleader? Midoriya hung his head. And now we're back to Kaken. Yeah, he formed the group and calls the shots. Plus he's the best rider. He can even do stunts. Oh, I'd love to see that. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 clapped her hands together. Do you do stunts, too? Only one called hit the ground with my face. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 made a sympathetic noise. Well, I don't have a bicycle of my own, but Midoriya yelped like a dog when his cell phone rang, and this time he actually dropped it. Determined not to make eye contact with 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫, he knelt and scooped it up, then answered it. Hey, Kaken. Deku, it's about that time, 𝗵𝘃𝗲 said. For what? For our afternoon ride. Genius, 𝗵𝘃𝗲 responded. Come on, Denki and Mina are already at my place. Ride up here so we can go. Midoriya swallowed and stole a glance at the curious 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫. I have company. Who? The Queen of England. Get a move on, 𝗵𝘃𝗲 said impatiently. But, I get it. New girl, right. Midoriya went red. Yeah, nice. What the heck did Midoriya say now? He liked those bike rides, but he was trying to put the moves on the new girl here. But he couldn't explain that to 𝗵𝘃𝗲 without giving his intentions away, if 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 hadn't already deduced it. And it was starting to seem like 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 had eyes only for 𝗵𝘃𝗲 anyway. Is this what it felt like, being in a spider's web? This sucks. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫's eyes lit up as she went pink in the face. Hey, Deku, may I talk to him a bit? If it's okay to use your phone. Numb with horror, Midoriya nodded and handed it over. 𝗵𝘃𝗲, 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 said brightly. Or is it Kaken? Which is better? Lord Explosion Murder. That's a mean nickname. I'll call you 𝗵𝘃𝗲. And eventually, I'll call you Katsuki. Anyway, I know about your bicycle gang. I want to come, too. She sat and listened to whatever 𝗵𝘃𝗲 said before covering the receiver. Hey, Deku. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 smiled. Take me to the bike shop. We're gonna meet your friends there, and I'm gonna buy a bike for the first time ever. One Midoriya changed out his kind of like a valet outfit into athletic shorts and a plain t-shirt. He got out his bike and walked it to the bike shop with 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 in the early afternoon sun. It was a clear day, a bit warm, but otherwise great for riding. The bike shop's just a few blocks away, Midoriya told 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 once they got going. It's right next to this bakery, which Kaken calls the Great Temptation. Mina keeps saying we should reward ourselves with a huge cake, until Kaken shows off his bike riding muscles and says he doesn't want to hide them under fat. 𝗂𝗧𝗄𝐫 giggled. He's so funny. Yeah, what a joker, Midoriya thought, reflecting on Bakugo's look of rage whenever he failed a quiz or couldn't land a bike stunt just right. Anyway, what kind of bike do you think you'll get? The shop has dirt bikes, sports bikes, and all kinds of accessories. I'll have their pinkest little tricycle with tassels on the handles, 𝗂𝗧𝗏 said seriously. Midoriya stared. Huh, 𝗂𝗧𝗏 burst out laughing. Just kidding, Deku. I only had something like that when I was little. Outgrew it? Huh. 𝗂𝗧𝗏 made a sly smile. Yeah, my best friend teased me that I was too old for it, so I lost it and borrowed another friend's dirt bike to show off. Midoriya could hardly believe his ears. Hang on, you said that you never rode a bicycle. I didn't, 𝗂𝗧𝗏 said with an embarrassed smile. You're not the only one who can do the hit the ground with my face trick. Midoriya didn't know whether to burst out laughing or give her a comforting hug, and at this rate, she'd rather get that hug from Kaken. Arg. Okay, here we are, Midoriya said with a wide grin as he a certain bike shop with 3 familiar bicycles parked outside. He deposited his bike with the other 3, chained it up to the bike rack, and led 𝗂𝗧𝗏 inside. Welcome to the 𝗧𝗵𝗲 family bike shop. Hey, there he is. A familiar first-year student and business lady said right as she seized him in a bear hug. I thought you weren't coming, Deku. Neither did I, Bakugo said snidely from near the front counter. Denki and Mina, who stood nearby, waved hello. What a pleasant surprise, Midoriya gasped. Why did every girl give him the boa constrictor treatment? His poor ribs. 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 let him go, gloved hands on her hips. You're one of my best customers, Deku. Don't scare me like that. Sorry, I brought a friend. Have you met her? This is 𝗂𝗧𝗏 Uraraka. 𝗂𝗧𝗏 did a polite bow. It's nice to meet you. You have a really cute shop. Well, thank you, new girl. Mei shook 𝗂𝗧𝗏's right hand in both of hers, her face radiant like always. Oh, I don't think you're a bike rider yet. Why don't I show you some good models for beginners? 𝗂𝗧𝗏 stared. How did you know? Mei pointed. Little lady, those aren't bike riders' legs. And your wide-eyed curiosity alone gave it away. Just you wait till you see the new babies I put on my high-end models. You might be tempted to buy one. 𝗂𝗧𝗏 blinked. Babies. That's what she calls her custom bike parts, Mina offered. She designed almost everything on my bike. And it feels great. I buy all my stuff from her. Denki looked sad as he took out his wallet and opened it to show the empty interior. Me, too. I have to work on my haggling skills. Mina patted his shoulder. There. Denki looked a little happier. Anyway, Mei seized 𝗂𝗧𝗏's hand again and yanked her toward a rack of girls' bikes. Take a look at these. I designed nearly every part on these babies. Try one and see. Here goes nothing, Bakugo said, hands in his cargo shorts pockets. Oh yeah, Midoriya realized. We'll see if she can handle 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 the business shark. He crossed his fingers for 𝗂𝗧𝗏's success. But alas, Mei knew her way around a customer, and 20 minutes later, 𝗂𝗧𝗏 had a brand new bike that fit like a glove. For 110% of its regular price. As the 5 of them pedaled down the street along a familiar route, 𝗂𝗧𝗏 groaned. I can't believe I had to pay a baby tax on this bike. That sounds more like child support. Denki snorted with laughter. You lost your 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 virginity. How's it feel? Denki, that's gross. Mina cried. Denki winced. Sorry. Anyway, Bakugo said. We're going over Bottle Bridge first. Then cutting through Bad Dog Park and stopping at Ghosty Bus Stop. Sound good to you all? Midoriya said yeah with Denki and Mina. But 𝗂𝗧𝗏 gave Bakugo a curious look. Where exactly is that? Oh, right. Bakugo cleared his throat as he led the group around a bend on the road. They were now near the edge of town, where the traffic was nice and light. We figured out nicknames for every spot in town. Bad Dog Park is where Deku keeps getting chases by stray dogs. Ghosty Bus Stop is this lonely bus stop where dumbass Denki swears he saw the ghost of a scary little schoolgirl. She looked right at me with those haunted eye socket. Denki wailed. Bakugo snorted just like Denki did. Yeah, sure. And Bottle Bridge is where we take breaks to sit on the edge and have a few drinks and talk about life. 𝗂𝗧𝗏 gasped with awe. This is the best gang ever. Yeah, hardcore gangsters. Denki hollered. We're the baddest around. You're the one who screamed for your mom when a squirrel landed on your head. Bakugo reminded him. Quit making me look bad, man. 𝗂𝗧𝗏 nearly fell off her bike laughing as Denki and Bakugo went back and forth, the 5 of them going across that old bridge like Bakugo promised. Midoriya had been to this part of town hundreds of times, but it was brand new for 𝗂𝗧𝗏. Do some tricks, Bakugo. 𝗂𝗧𝗏 said once the group approached a series of skateboard stunt ramps in the park. Bakugo put on a false modest tone. Oh, I dunno. I'm not the type to show off. He broke into a wide grin. Duh, I am. Check this out, new girl. Yeah, go, fireball. Mina cheered. That's what I call him when he does stunts, she added to a confused 𝗂𝗧𝗏. The 4 of them stopped to watch as Bakugo got started. He coasted down into the skate park's concrete bottom, and he held onto his bike with one hand as he extended his right hand behind him, palm open. Midoriya saw familiar sparks firing up. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗶. Everyone cheered when 𝗵𝘃𝐻 set off his explosion quirk and rocketed up a curved ramp, going way higher than anyone else could. He left a trail of sparks and smoke as he did a 360 turn in the air, and he got back into position just in time to land and roll to the other side of the park. To the loop, Denki hollered, cupping his hands around his mouth. 𝗂𝗧𝗪 gasped when 𝗵𝘃𝐻 fired up his quirk again and roared off another ramp, going even higher this time. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 set off a few, smaller explosions in midair, and he leaned back hard enough to curve upwards and spin his bike as though riding inside a giant wheel. Everyone clapped and cheered as he finished the loop and arced downward just right to stick the landing. Am I the best or what? 𝗵𝘃𝐻 cried in victory as he spread both arms in victory, just before he lost balance and did HT the ground with my face. Denki and Mina roared with laughter as 𝗂𝗧𝗪 and Midoriya hurried over to help. No, I'm fine, 𝗵𝘃𝐻 said gruffly as he got up. He dusted off his shorts. How'd you like that, new girl? I can't believe it. I never saw a quirk used like that before. 𝗂𝗧𝗪 cried, jumping up and down. You're incredible. Heh. I try. Oh, we should definitely hang out more, 𝗂𝗧𝗪 added, a look of longing on her face. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 gave Midoriya a quick look before nodding. Yeah, I guess. Wanna check out Ghosty Bus Stop? Give yourself a workout. Yeah, let's go, 𝗂𝗧𝗪 said eagerly. Lead the way, Boss Kaken. She giggled. Midoriya watched 𝗂𝗧𝗪 go to collect her bike and wondered if it was time he rode right off a cliff. She's so into you, Midoriya heard himself say. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 blinked. She what? And nothing. Midoriya looked away. No, hang on. The new girl's into me. For real. Midoriya made an aggravated noise. Yeah, she totally is. You're all she talks about, Kaken. Well damn, I didn't even notice. You're so dense, Midoriya half teased him. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 scowled. Shove it. Sorry. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 climbed back onto his bike. Look, she ain't my type, Deku. I'll talk to her, and no. Midoriya held out both hands. I don't want to look desperate. I can be subtle. No you can't. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 sighed. Yeah, you're right. Then what are you gonna do? Midoriya looked over his shoulder at 𝗂𝗧𝗪 happily chatting with Denki and Mina. Dunno. Got any ideas? Visit Ghosty Bus Stop and see if the new girl can keep up. It's a long ride, you know. She's 𝗂𝗧𝗪 Uraraka, Midoriya said a little defensively. Sorry, Your Highness. Midoriya gestured helplessly. There's gotta be something I can do. Come on, don't be such a chicken. Ask her out. The hangman said so. Midoriya bristled at 𝗵𝘃𝐻's teasing expression. That's not funny. She's my friend. But if I do this wrong, the whole thing will be ruined. I mean, she sits next to me in class. I couldn't face her if I asked her out and got shot down. And she probably wants you to ask her out. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 grunted. Slow down, Buster. I'm not asking her out, period. Not interested. You sure you don't want me to talk you up to her? I think so. Instead of a wingman, I dunno, some grand gesture or proof that I'm the right one for her. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 held back sudden laughter. Count on Deku to act like some lovesick prince. You kill me. What do you think you're doing? Midoriya held his head in agony. Why'd you have to be such a bad boy? That's what she's into. 𝗵𝘃𝐻 made a crafty grin. Then you be one. Midoriya gave him a get-real look that 𝗵𝘃𝐻 totally understood. Fine. Just be the pining prince, 𝗵𝘃𝐻 said a shrug. Oh, and one piece of advice from Katsuki 𝗵𝘃𝐻 the chick magnet. Don't let 𝗂𝗧𝗪 see you around that Toga girl like at the soccer tryouts. Yeah, I saw that little scene. Way to go, Deku. Midoriya groaned. Don't even remind me. If you don't grow a spine, 𝗂𝗧𝗪 and I will ride off into the sunset while Toga drags you to the altar. Midoriya pictured that scene and regretted it at once. I'm sure you'll work something out, 𝗵𝘃𝐻 said, clearly getting tired of this discussion. Let's ride. You need to clear that head of yours. Midoriya sighed. Right, let's get going. Maybe I'll think of something on the ride over there. On the ride to Ghosty Bus Stop, Midoriya didn't have any brilliant insights about 𝗂𝗧𝗪, but he got a sly smile on his face as another idea came to him. He could at least help out others in need, and heck, it might impress 𝗂𝗧𝗪. Hey, today's the 18th, right? Midoriya panted as he cycled along. Yeah, Denki said. Just checking. Perfect. Midoriya made a mental note to tell 𝗵𝘃𝐻 about this brand new plan later. Midoriya was expecting another routine homeroom for Class 1 on Monday. But once again, his wily classmates had a little surprise waiting in the wings. Midoriya barely parked his rear in his seat when Momoye Urazu, of all people, sprang to her feet and clapped her hands together. Your attention please, everyone, she said, her expression radiant. She bounced up and down on the balls of her feet. This Friday is the 23rd, and it's my 16th birthday. And so, she reached into her school bag and drew a whole stack of envelopes. You are all cordially invited to the 𝐒𝐡 estate for my party. I hope to see all my good friends there. Midoriya didn't expect Momo to hand out fancy invitations like these, but he knew darn well that Momo's birthday was this Friday, and boy did he have plans. Perfect. What the heck? Eijiro Kirishima blurted out when he read his handwritten invite. This says formal wear required. What? Of course, Momo said primly, striking some snobby rich girl pose. This is a dignified event, 𝐒𝐻𝐽o. I do hope you look your best. 𝐒𝐻𝐽o glanced around nervously. My K-pop t-shirts don't count as formal, do they? Doubt it, Gyro said snidely. Hey, it's not like your lady fancipants, Denki teased her, and Gyro flinched, going red in the face. Midoriya stayed quiet as his classmates argued about the merits of fancy on the inside versus expensive tailored outfits, instead looking over the details of Momo's handwritten invite. He had that not a valet outfit, but what if he tried something even better? Meanwhile, Bakugo's idea of formal wear was using the proper amount of laundry detergent. While Denki often didn't even reach that high bar, Mina might have something for herself, but Midoriya gave Ochako a warm smile. This is gonna be fun, isn't it? Oh, I can't wait, Ochako said eagerly. I have just the right outfit. I wore it to my aunt's wedding last June. Nice. What about you? Will I see you in coattails? Midoriya went pink. Ochako returned his smile. Is someone going clothes shopping later today? That wasn't far from the plan. And Midoriya tried to hide his embarrassment. I'll be fine, he said vaguely. Just make sure that your present to Momo is sentimental and personal and all that. Her quirk is creation, so she can make everyday things for her own use. She even makes bed, bath, and beyond style stuff for herself recently. See, you found that out last month when she got Momo a gift basket of shower stuff. Ochako looked impressed. That's a wonderful quirk. That's the general consensus. Midoriya, meanwhile, was working to keep his plan together in his mind. If he didn't do this just right. Settle down, class, Aizawa said peevishly when the public debate reached a certain volume. I need a quick nap. Surprise, surprise. As soon as Aizawa settled down into his usual yellow sleeping bag like a snoring banana, the argument resumed in paper note form, but Midoriya wasn't looking for a debate. Instead, he wrote a note and tossed it to 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏, who read it and gave Midoriya a nod. Perfect. LOL. I'm flattered. Midoriya, Bakugo, Mina, Denki, 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 said as the five of them walked together across the school's front early that evening. To think I'm the lifestyle coach of the class. You shouldn't have. He tried to look bashful as he adjusted his glasses. You're the class representative, 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏, Mina said, patting his back. Aren't you like, super fancy and proper all the time? Well, kind of. 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 looked unsure of himself. We just don't want to be the village idiots at Momo's party, Denki admitted. You'll be fine, 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 said kindly. Nah, we're the ruffians. Didn't you ever notice? Bakugo said. Give us a shot here, class rep. Midoriya knew the real reason why Bakugo cared so much, and he was almost moved to tears from sheer gratitude. 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 puffed out his chest. Very well, ladies and gentlemen, as your class representative, I, Tenya 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏, shall render assistance however possible. Please follow me. He marched off in a new direction, toward the nearest shopping square further in town. Mina stifled a giggle behind her hand. He's hilarious. She thought it was less funny when 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏's personal tailor got in everyone's faces about their wardrobes. I am best jeanist, fashion expert, the blonde man said once the five students walked into his shop. He wore a blue denim outfit that came all the way up to his nose. But even with just his eyes and forehead visible, he gave everyone a hardcore glare that sent shivers down their spines. He whipped out several rolls of expensive fabric and a few combs. With these fingers of mine, I craft the finest apparel in all of Japan and beyond, and I shall not suffer ruffians who think clothes are some cheap way of protecting their modesty. Bakugo winced. He liked to call his friends ruffians. But to hear it like this, was ruffian an insult now? Everyone, I owe so much to best jeanist, 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 said fondly, spreading his arms wide. My wardrobe is fit for the Prime Minister. All my outfits are like a second skin. Bet your wallet is worn to a nub, Denki muttered. What was that, kid? Best jeanist put his fists on his hips as he leered right in Denki's face. Do you think I'm unfair to my customers? Denki winced under the pressure of best jeanist's glare. Hey, leave him alone, Mina demanded. It was just a joke. Best jeanist withdrew. You kids won't think it's a joke when I'm done with you. Let me get my tape measure. I need to see what I'm working with. Midoriya was already getting second thoughts, but the walls of this shop seemed to be closing around him as best jeanist stepped forward with a rolled-up tape measure. 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 gave him an encouraging thumbs up, so Midoriya decided to bear with it. Barely, best jeanist forced everyone into weird postures as he measured everything he possibly could. And Midoriya thought he saw Bakugo's explosion sparking on his palms. If Bakugo set all these expensive clothes and fabrics on fire, that wasn't so bad, was it? 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗏 said when best jeanist finished measuring. He's giving you his precious time to help you. Sure, Denki said, grimacing as he rubbed his sore back. Best jeanist had made him bend way over backwards to measure his spine's arch for some reason. Midoriya dearly hoped that this tailor was a genius as well as mad. You're first, best jeanist said, pointing at Bakugo. Bakugo shoved his hands into his pockets and shuffled forward. Fine, whatever. And 5 minutes later. Whoa, Bakugo, you're looking good. Mina cried when her classmate re-emerged from the fitting room with 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗍. I guess, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 shrugged. All fancy crap like this looks the same to me. My tailor shop does not work with crap, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗍 snapped. Mind your tone, boy. Mind yours, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 roared back. Midoriya and 𝐒𝐻𝐈 shared a what did we expect look as 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 and 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 went back and forth. Still, Mina was right. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 did look good, dressed to the nines with a dark red button-up shirt, black pants and jacket, polished shoes, and a new gold wristwatch. Wait, gold? So expensive. Damn, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁, you could land any girl you wanted, Denki said with 2 thumbs up. I'm jealous. Not for long, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 said. You next, doofus. What? 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 sulked in the corner while 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 worked his magic, and Denki returned in a light blue, long-sleeved button-up shirt with gray pants and shoes, and a silver-colored silk vest. Denki looked bashful, hands on his pockets. So, how do I look? Ooh, you look amazing, Denki. This is so cool, Mina squealed, hopping up and down. I can't believe it. Midoriya faked a coughing fit to his wide grin. Exactly as planned. He definitely saw a look of longing in Mina's eyes just now, if her hopping didn't give it away. The girl's next, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 said, motioning for her to follow. I'll have a female assistant help you. Yes, it's my turn. Mina pumped a fist in the air as she followed the tailor to the changing room. See, best tailor in town, 𝐒𝐻𝐈 said, arms folded smugly. Biggest jerk in town, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 muttered hotly in the corner. Coolest guy in town, Denki said, his head in the clouds. Denki snapped to attention once Mina returned, and the girl was all smiles as she twirled in place, her arms out. Check me out, she exclaimed. She wore a dress whose top was black fabric with an off-the-shoulder neckline, showing off a bit of her shoulders and collarbone, and the skirt was an all-over floral print with a self-tie belt made of the same fabric. On her feet she wore shiny black pumps, and she had a gold bracelet on her left wrist. Denki went bright pink as he clapped. Woohoo! You look awesome, Mina. I changed my mind. This place is great. Totally worth the money. I'm glad you came around, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 said casually. Now, the last kid. Midoriya was whisked to the back room, and he re-emerged wearing a black suit jacket, pants, and shoes like 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁, but with a green shirt and a silver watch. Denki gave him a golf clap while Mina cheered. You guys are all so handsome. This is the best day ever. Except that day you set a record riding your bike off a ramp, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 said, finally rejoining the group. Remember that? Oh, yeah, Mina said. Okay, it's a tie. 𝐒𝐻𝐈 looked suspicious. You what? Denki grinned widely. We found this abandoned Toyota at the edge of town, so leaned this huge wooden plank against it like a ramp and competed to see who could catch the most air. Mina went the highest, so she's the stunt queen in our group. Without quirks, that is, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 reminded him. With them, I'm the king. Like that time you went off a ramp and ended up in a tree, Midoriya reminded him. I told you were using too much power. And I told you I'd fly right over that school bus. And I did, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 retorted. So I consider it a win. 𝐒𝐻𝐈 sighed and glanced at 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁. At least they look formal. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 hung his head. Some clients. Then it came time to pay up. Midoriya was feeling pretty good about how much of his allowance he had saved up. But 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 shot an arrow straight through his wallet when he presented the bill. I won't pay this off till I'm Mr. Aizawa's age, Midoriya cried. He definitely felt panic setting in. 𝗬𝗓𝐶ON1. Evacuate immediately. I won't pay this crap off till my grandkids are old. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 growled. What the hell? Language. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 snapped. Or should I restrain you with my quirk? 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 backed off but looked no less upset. Look, you all can work it off on the weekends, 𝐒𝐻𝐈 offered. It's a fair deal. Midoriya's ears perked up. 𝐒𝐻𝐈, by any chance, have you taken that offer a few times? 𝐒𝐻𝐈 went red and looked away. Let's say that I was lying about volunteering at an animal shelter every Sunday. Well, it wasn't the worst idea. Midoriya, 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁, Denki, and Mina all agreed to work off their bills after school and on Sundays, and once they got their nice outfits bagged safely, they changed back into their school uniforms and headed out. Well, what a productive day, 𝐒𝐻𝐈 said happily, adjusting his glasses again. I feel great. Stuff it. I gotta be that jerk's butler for years to pay this off. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 roared. I'll never have free time again. You asked the class rep for his help, and you got it, 𝐒𝐻𝐈 said loftily. See you all tomorrow. He took a right and walked off, leaving the 4 friends to go home without him. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 held up his bagged outfit with a miserable look. Since when did fabric and buttons cost so much? Damn, don't forget the watch, Midoriya said with a bracing smile. That was like 30% of the cost. 𝗵𝑃𝗲𝗁 froze. What? He erupted. I didn't even want it. I could have paid less for this. Then I'd spend less time being that jerk's butler. Mina patted his back. It's okay. At least you look like a tycoon. We all do, Denki said fondly, caressing his outfit and its bag. I'll never get turned down for a date wearing this sucker. That's the idea, Denki, Midoriya thought, fighting back a smug grin. Okay, I have homework to catch up on, Midoriya said, deciding to bail out before he gave anything away. I'll see you tomorrow, too. Wait, the history homework we got was really hard. Mina cried as Midoriya walked off. Can't you help us a little? Asked Denki. Midoriya said over his shoulder. You guys get along so well. He didn't look away until he was sure that Denki and Mina gave each other appreciative looks. Fair point, Denki said. See ya. Have a good night, kids. What? Nothing. Oh, that evening. Midoriya was just finishing his geometry homework when his cell phone rang. He picked it up from his desk and narrowed his eyes at the caller ID on the screen. This day wouldn't end, would it? Hey, 𝗵𝗃𝗄, Midoriya said wearily when he picked up. He'd given her number when they first met to be polite, but sometimes Toga called at the weirdest times. Hi, Deku darling, Toga said bashfully. How are you? I'm fine. Just finished up some geometry homework. Ooh, okay, Toga said. Deku, what? I heard that Momo is having a birthday party this Friday, Toga said timidly. She invited a few people from classes 1B and 1 degrees Celsius, too. I didn't get one, but I heard someone say that Momo will let a few guests bring a +1. I think. Midoriya blinked. Really? She didn't say that in homeroom. What was Toga up to this time? Hey, Izuku, Toga said after a few seconds of awkward silence. See, could you bring me as her guest to the party? It would really mean a lot. And Momo's so beautiful and smart and cool. I like her. I dunno, Midoriya hedged. Maybe I should check with Momo first. No, she said it's okay, Toga said hastily. Deku, I'd really like to be your date. Well, Midoriya definitely wanted to say no. Ochako sure as heck was going to that party, and he needed to impress her. But just as he opened his mouth to say no, he heard his mom chuckling in the living room at a sitcom, and he wondered what she would say if her son turned down a girl who asked him out so politely. Plus, Toga's voice had a vulnerable tone he hadn't heard before, even in those times when she pretended to be heartbroken. Here goes nothing. Okay, 𝗵𝗃𝗄 Toga, will you be my +1 to Momo's party? Yeah, thank you, Deku. I promise I'll dress really nice. This will be so fun. Didn't take long for the old Toga to come back, did it? Yeah, Midoriya agreed. But we're going as platonic friends, okay? Just friends. Whatever you say. Deku, Toga said in her usual sing-song, teasing voice. I'll see you Friday. Come by my house and pick me up, okay? I'll be on the porch. All right, I'll text you when I'm on my way, Deku said, praying that he wasn't making the mistake of the century. The Hindenburg, Titanic, and Chernobyl combined couldn't compare if he did this wrong. Until then, yeah, and try out for the soccer team again. I'll help you. Let's put a pin in that for now. Whatever you say, Deku, she said again, and in the exact same way. No one can tell this girl a solid no, Deku lamented. Have a good night. Good night, Deku darling. Toga finally hung up. It was now or never. Midoriya tried to look casual as he walked into the living room. Hey, Mom. 𝗵𝗃𝗄 muted the TV and looked up. What is it, honey? I'll be at a classmate's birthday party this Friday evening, Midoriya said. I'll be picking up my +1 at her house. I promise I won't stay out too late. 𝗵𝗃𝗄 beamed. That sounds wonderful. Who's her date? My +1. Midoriya hastily corrected her. Just a platonic friend, that's all. 𝗵𝗃𝗄's smile widened. It's that you're Raka girl next door, isn't it? Midoriya didn't have the vocal cords necessary to make the hysterical screaming noise that erupted in his head. Instead, he managed to choke out that he was taking some other girl to the party, and he retreated to his bedroom and lay on the bed, face right into the pillow. Move over, Chernobyl, he thought. Midoriya checked his watch again as he walked around the corner in his neighborhood toward the Toga household. It was 6:49, so he had just enough time to pick up his +1 and escort her to the 𝐒𝐬𝐢𝐵 house for the big Sweet 16 party. The sun was just starting to set. And that, with Midoriya's pretty awesome outfit, made it look like he was on his way to a classical music concert. Instead, Deku darling, over here. 𝗵𝗃𝗄 Toga hopped up and down and waved her arms once Midoriya turned the corner and walked up the worn-out front steps to the small Toga home. I see you, Midoriya said with a bracing smile. You look nice, Toga. His date wore a red, knee-length dress with double-strapped shoulders and a high neckline, and simple black flats and a fake gold necklace. What? I'm 𝗵𝗃𝗄 to you. I'm your date, remember? Toga made a pouty face, hands on her hips. My +1 to the party, Midoriya reminded her. So, are you ready to go? 𝗵𝗃𝗄 hopped up and down twice more before she linked her left arm with Midoriya's right. Yeah, and you look real nice, darling. Where'd you get those fancy clothes? She blushed bright pink as she took in Midoriya's high-roller outfit. This tailor shop 𝐒𝐴𝐵, Midoriya said, feeling a chill of dread as he pictured a stern basginist with papers of expensive bills behind him and the character for debt written in flaming red ink on each of them. Damn it, Ada. Ooh, that sounds fun, Toga said as the two of them headed out for the 𝐒𝐬𝐢𝐵 home. As sure. Hey, shouldn't I meet your parents first? Midoriya asked, looking over his shoulder at the Toga home. I mean, I'm bringing their daughter to a party. Toga giggled and held him tighter. And no thanks, my mom's asleep. And my dad moved out a while back. All you need is me. She made a sly face as she traced a finger along Midoriya's jaw. If it wasn't one thing, it was another. Midoriya, dude, you sure dressed up, Kirishima said in awe when Midoriya and his date were welcomed into the Yaoyorozu home right on time at 7. Kirishima looked nice too, but already Midoriya could feel the effects of best genius skills at work. The other boys from the class had dressed up like Momo wanted, but whoa, Midoriya, Denki, and Bakugo were the highlights of the group. And among the girls, Tsuyu and Toru were in awe at Mina's new attire. "Oh, you look so pretty, Mina," Toru exclaimed. She wore an eggshell white outfit with cap sleeves and leather sandals, and a silver bangle on her right wrist. As usual, Toru simply looked like floating clothing. But hey, it did look nice. Thanks, Toru. Mina did a twirl. And probably not the first for the evening. You should go to a tailor, too, like I did. They offer deals there. She caught Midoriya's eye and gave him a knowing wink that Midoriya whimsically returned. Hey, if the four of them had huge debts to pay to Best Jeanist, why not get a few more in on the fun? What's up, Deku? Bakugo said, giving Midoriya a cuff on the shoulder. I mean, Deku and Himiko. He cracked a teasing grin that Denki shared. Damn, Izuku, you get all the girls, Denki said, hands in his pants pockets. You trying to make me look bad. Midoriya glanced at Mina and thought not for long. Toga giggled. I know. He walked all the way to my house to pick me up like a gentleman. That's just like my Deku darling. She kissed him on the cheek. Midoriya felt a jolt as Toga's warm lips touched his skin, and he didn't know whether to feel vaguely proud or mortified as most of Class 1A and some of 1B and 1 degrees Celsius all took in the scene. And that included Ochako. There she was, chatting up Kyoka Gyro and Itsuka Kendo near the fireplace. She caught Midoriya's eye and made a well aren't you lucky face. Lucky, I ain't ever seen this many decorations for a party, 𝗧𝗍 commented, taking in the many balloons, streamers, the pile of gifts on a nearby table, and the charming ambient music, plus the huge multi-layer cake on a bigger table that was surrounded with plastic wine glasses, lit candles, and a bunch of snacks and drinks. Gyro snorted. Dummy, you're at a Sweet 16 party. This is how it works. She's right, Ochako added. I went to a Sweet 16 party for a classmates at my old high school, and it was just like this. Minus the grand piano, the grandfather clock, the samurai armor in the corner. Okay, this girl is seriously rich. She's got everything where it counts, if you know what I mean, Minda added slyly, until Gyro gently slapped him away with an earphone jack. Where is she, anyway? Shoto wondered. Like Midoriya's group, he was dressed really sharply, but probably didn't get reeled in by a crafty tailor. I think she's waiting for everyone to get here. Ribbit, Tsuyu commented, a finger on her chin as she looked around. Is Momo going to make a grand entrance? Nah, she ain't that showy, Kirishima said. Maybe she's doing her hair or whatever. Girl things. Gyro rolled her eyes while Ochako giggled. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Everyone, a familiar girl's voice said, and everyone looked over at the huge living room's east entrance as the Sweet 16 girl herself stepped in, decked out in a silver, ankle-length ball gownish outfit with blue accents and sapphire earrings and ring. She smiled and gently clapped her hands together. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. My parents are out preparing my special birthday dinner for later, but for now, it's just us. Let's have a good time. Midoriya vaguely wondered if Momo realized how much she was actually flaunting her great life when she usually tried to act humble. But to heck with it, there was cake. Don't annoy the cake giver. Heck yeah. Denki rushed to the center of the room and motioned for everyone to gather. Get into position, guys. What the hell for? Bakugo said. For the birthday song chorus. Duh, Denki said, making a sour face. I'm guessing your birthday parties involve noogies and crying, Katsuki. That was just one time. Bakugo snapped. And it sure hurt, man. I said I was sorry. Not enough. Mina hid a giggle behind her hands. Come on, guys, let's do it. It's the birthday song. Pass, Gyro muttered. And Shoji and 𝗵𝗃 nodded in agreement. Shoto looked like he'd rather retreat into the next room and sulk. But Denki looked pretty embarrassed by now, and Momo was watching him with an appraising look. A duet, then, Midoriya declared. Come on, Denki and Mina. Make some music. Denki brightened. Why didn't I think of that? So, he and Mina did an off-tune and loud, but well-meaning duet that ended in self-conscious giggles by the end, and Momo clapped happily while a few others did a golf clap to not look like jerks. Thank you so much, Momo said brightly. It means a lot, Denki, Mina. Do a high five. Midoriya encouraged them, so Mina giggled as she and Denki did a high five to congratulate each other. We should do something too, darling, Toga muttered eagerly into Midoriya's ear. What if would anyone like cake? Momo offered, stepping toward the three-tiered juggernaut of icing and sugar on the table. It even had fake flowers. Everyone rushed over to the table as Momo stared serving. That's a good one, 𝗃𝗃 commented, standing near the crowd's back. Huh, 𝗧𝗏 blurted. I know my pastries, 𝗧𝗨 said with a bashful smile. I mean, it fuels my quirk. I know a great cake from a bad one. And this looks like a real treat. Tastes like one, too, 𝗃𝗍𝐁 said through a mouthful of cake. Hey, the birthday girl goes first. 𝗔𝗨𝗧𝗏 cried. What are you thinking? That I'd better get invited to another sweet 16 party by the time I finish this slice, 𝗃𝗍𝐁 said, and Mina doubled over in laughter, both hands held over her mouth. The party was just as Midoriya imagined for the next 20 minutes. Toga tried to feed him cake, and Momo started on the presents. She held up a wrapped gift from Tsuyu, and it was flat and kind of wide. She unwrapped it to reveal what looked like a colorful, lumpy piece of clay in a frame. What? I call it rain art. Ribbit, Tsuyu explained when everyone voiced their utter confusion. I use very soft clays and silt as a canvas in a solid wood frame, and apply different paints to it and let it get rained on. The force of the raindrops mixes the colors and create a unique texture. It's an imprint of an afternoon's rain with the colors to show it. There was a second of silence. That's actually kind of cool, Kirishima admitted. Tsuyu, thank you so much. Momo wrapped the smaller girl in a tight hug and actually nuzzled her cheek for a second. That's the most thoughtful and creative thing anyone's ever given me. I'm glad you liked it. Ribbit. As Momo worked her way through the pile of gifts, Ochako joined up with Midoriya and Bakugo. These are some interesting gifts, she commented. Most of the girls I know like perfume, cute cell phone cases, and earrings. Bakugo grunted in amusement. Don't forget, her quirk is creation, and her family is loaded. She takes stuff like that for granted. She likes sentimental and personal stuff, Midoriya added. Momo wants wealth of the heart. I mean, that's how she puts it, anyway. Ooh, that's so smart, Ochako said fondly. I think more people could stand to think that way. And this one is from 𝗵𝗃𝗁, Momo said as she unwrapped another gift, and she revealed a dream catcher decorated with raven feathers. Bird feathers. Isn't that kind of like cannibalism? Minta said snidely until 𝗔𝗨𝗧 whacked him again with an earphone jack. I only used feathers I picked up off the ground. I swear, 𝗵𝗃𝗁 said hastily. Momo ran her fingers delicately along the dream catcher. Did you make this yourself? Yeah, Momo beamed. I love it. Thank you so much. See, personal gifts, Midoriya muttered in Ochako's ear, and she nodded. Momo worked her way through the pile, thanking everyone for the gifts, but she hesitated when she picked up Minta's, a cube wrapped in pink paper and topped with a silver bow. Open it, Minta urged her. Momo scowled. Please tell me that this isn't a prank gift. Did you make a prank gift? Who, me? I'd never. 𝗔𝗨𝗧, check it out. Momo handed the ultra-suspicious gift to Kyoka 𝗔𝗨𝗧, who stuck an earphone jack into it and tapped on the box to make sound waves inside. 𝗔𝗨𝗧 narrowed her eyes in concentration, and then she looked shocked. I knew it. It's something totally erotic, Kirishima cried. 𝗔𝗨𝗧 still looked stunned as she handed the gift back to the birthday girl. It's, Momo braced herself as though jumping off a diving board and opened the present. Inside was a plastic, 3D sculpt of Momo on a pedestal. It's you, Minta said happily. Like it. I went to this 3D printer lab and had it made. It cost a ton of money. Momo turned the little statue over in her hands. It's, well, thank you, Minta. Then Momo perked up. Hey, does this statue have a twin sister residing in your bedroom? You see. 𝗔𝗨𝗧, Minta narrowly dodged the third earphone jack attack and instead bolted for the door, cackling the whole way. Momo sighed as Minta fled the premises. Now I feel weird keeping this one. Still, she reached for the pile of gifts and is a little happier with the rest. She got a little booklet of home baking recipes from 𝗧𝗨, a collection of nature sketches from Koji Koda, and a stunning geode with stunning, sparkling blue crystals in it from Yuga Aoyama. How come you gave her a rock? 𝗔𝗨𝗧 asked bluntly as Momo admired the geode. Aoyama winked. Mine's none. It's a geode. But why that? The crystal's elegant color reminds me of her eyes. Aoyama tried to look high and mighty for his cleverness. Tsuyu blinked. Wait a minute. Momo's eyes aren't blue. Ribbit. Really? I thought they were. Aoyama said in a confused tone that may have been genuine. At least it's not all about him, Shoto muttered. Midoriya's gift was last. A handmade tea mug with the characters for love and hope painted on the sides, opposite each other. Ooh, thank you, Izuku, Momo said. And this is just in time. My father bought a new rare tea from Tibet that I wanted to try. I'll be sure to pour it in this. And what lovely characters. I tried to paint them all fancy-like, Midoriya explained, feeling like an idiot as he went. Momo was still happy, though, and now that the gifts were done, she casually asked if anyone wanted to play a party game of their choosing. Bad idea. Super Mario Brothers, Kirishima cried. No one here has a game console, you dope, 𝗔𝗨𝗧 told him. Let's do each other's nails, Toru cried. But what will the boys do? Tsuyu asked. Oh, hey, basketball at the court down the street, 𝗧𝗏 offered, raising a hand. Who wants to be on my team? 𝗔𝗨𝗧 ran a hand along her fancy gown. Do I really have to explain why that's a stupid idea? I wouldn't mind a little exercise. Ribbit, so you put in. Well, I say we look over some of my newest babies. Just look at these prototypes, 𝗵𝗃 said eagerly, pulling out some bicycle parts from her purse. Who wants to buy one? We're not at your shop. Everyone told her in unison. I can't afford any more expensive babies. Anyway, Denki groaned. Mina patted him on the back. Mizo Shoji, meanwhile, was looking something up on his phone, and Ochako peeked at the screen. Whatcha doing? She asked. Shoji flinched. Looking up party games. That's so thoughtful, Ochako said happily. Because everyone here is insane, Shoto muttered. I haven't been to a party before, Shoji admitted. I just wanted to do this right. Ochako made a sympathetic noise. You've never been to a party. But what about your own birthdays? Shoji shrugged. My parents taught me frugal living for success. We didn't need to spend our money on parties. I would review my blessings and other things I was grateful for in my life on each birthday. Talk about total opposites, 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗄 commented, looking around at the flamboyant decoration. Shoji squinted at his screen. Got it. Does anyone want to play pin the tail on the donkey? We're not 5, Gyro said. Come on, what else you got? Do we have a pinata here? Momo winced. Certainly not. Too messy. Shoji rubbed his chin. What about a drinking game? There were cries of shock. We're too young, dude, Kirishima said. Does your dad sneak you a beer from the fridge every night when your mom's not looking? Shoji blinked. Wait, a drinking game has to involve booze. Hey, you don't drink herbal tea when you play those, 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗄 said, elbowing the much taller Shoji. Grow up, dude, Shoji grunted. Sorry, guys, I don't really play games. I'm not sure which is right. May I? Ochako borrowed Shoji's smartphone and looked at the screen. Then she smiled and handed it back. You know what? Let's start with the classics and invent our own games later. Yeah, Mina cried, pumping a fist. I love those games. Super Mario Brothers is a game, Kirishima said sadly as he hung his head. No one listened. Very well, everyone. I declare that we start with truth or dare, Momo said, stepping forward and clapping her hands together again. That sounds like a pretty innocent game. Right, I've never actually played it. Everyone gave each other crafty and cunning looks. This could get wild really fast. Hear that, Deku darling? Toga ran her hand along Midoriya's shoulders. Now I'll know everything that's in your heart, and if I get to dare you to do something. She made a hungry smile and toyed with her lower lip. Midoriya swallowed, fully aware that Ochako could hear this. Bringing Toga here. Damn, it was risky. Why'd have to be such a doormat and invite her when she asked? If he didn't navigate these choppy waters just right, he would ruin everything. If things weren't going that way already, that is. There was no stopping Ochako's momentum once she got everyone to agree to truth or dare. And already, everyone was gathering in a huge circle on the living room's plush carpet to play. Momo hesitated to join, so Midoriya got her attention and whispered something into her ear. Momo finally looked happy about the prospects of playing the game. Why, that's a lovely idea. Izuku, she said. I'll help you. Thanks, Momo. Midoriya smoothed his suit's vest and joined everyone in the huge circle. Come on, Momo. It's time to play. Mina cheered, raising a fist as she settled into a kneeling position with everyone else. Plus, Minda isn't here, Anjiro added. I mean, it can't be that crazy if he's not making trouble. Play, 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 play. Everyone started chanting until Momo bowed to peer pressure and took the last empty spot. Okay, let's have a dignified and polite game, she said sternly. We have rules in this house. The only rule, 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗄 said as he rubbed his hands, is that there are no rules. Heck yeah, Toru added. Momo sighed. That phrase contradicts itself. Whatever, it's time play. Me first, Mina cried, waving a hand. But this was my idea. Ochako shot back. Oh, but I'm the master at this game, Mina said with a wink, holding up a finger. Watch me, Ochako. That's unfair, Ochako Uraraka, Mina declared, pointing across the circle at the other girl. Truth or dare? Ochako hung her head, hands held in loose fists on her lap. Truth, I guess. Starting slow, are we? Mina said slyly. Okay, have you been in Izuku's room yet? Midoriya jolted in shock. And he wasn't the only one. All the other boys immediately turned to look at him with faces ranging from alarm to excitement. Ochako squirmed. That's not fair. Answer, answer, Toru exclaimed, her wrist bangle waving in the air. You'd better not lie. Ochako went pink as she avoided Midoriya's eyes. Why yeah, I have. I knew it. Mina cheered. Even Gyro gave Ochako a sly look. Oh, you move fast. New girl, she said snidely. Ochako went redder. It was a friendly visit. I swear, she sure is quick to explain that, Midoriya thought with dismay. Mina spoke over the other girls, giggling at Ochako. Very good, new girl. Now it's your turn. Ochako braced herself as she scanned her classmates and friends. Momo cleared her throat. Perhaps you could return the favor. Ochako looked convinced, and she pointed right back at Mina. Mina Ashido. Truth or dare? Truth. Try me, Mina said smugly. Have you been in Denki's bedroom? Now all the gazes quickly turned to the acid girl, who also blushed and cowered where she sat. Hey, fun, isn't it? Ochako retorted. Mina glanced at Denki, who was a few students to her left, and went even redder. Well, yeah, lots of times. There was a collective ooh of excitement that made Momo clap her hands over her ears. To study, you perverts, Mina cried. We're the dumbest in class 1A. We gotta stick together. It sure sounds like you are, Ochako said with the same smug tone Mina had used, getting comfortable in there. Hey, just one question at a time, Denki cried. Then try this, Mina told him, still red in the face. Truth or dare? Denki grinned. Dare, do your worst. Momo cleared her throat again. Why not test him and see where his heart lies? Mina always looked up to Momo, and she looked encouraged at her classmate's words. Okay, sure. Denki Kaminari, I dare you to go around the circle and kiss the one you love most. Oh, someone had better dare you to do that, Toga muttered in Midoriya's ear as Denki covered his face out of embarrassment. I'm counting on you, darling. She's so blunt. Midoriya wondered where the heck Toga's off switch was and how much he'd dare to try and find it. He'd be looking all over her body, and she'd totally like that. Midoriya held his face in horror. Now she's in my head. My mom was right. There are girls like that out there. Denki was doing no better. What the hell? He cried, and he gave off a flustered zap that knocked off Ida's glasses. Mina, do it, Denki. Mina cried breathlessly. Get your butt up and try it. Okay. Denki narrowly avoided stepping on Ida's glasses as he walked around the circle, tapping his fingers together nervously as he considered each girl he passed. Tsuyu, Ochako, Itsuka, Mei, Toru. Who's it gonna be? Kirishima hollered. Stick the landing, kiddo. You're not my dad. Denki snapped over his shoulder, but he was still hedging, and he nearly made it back to his pot. He stopped in front of Mina and went even redder. Wait a minute, he protested, motioning wildly. Can't I do a different dare? All the girls erupted. She's the one, Toru cheered, almost standing up in excitement. Go, Denki, go. But I don't. Why else would you freak out? Gyro teased him. You're easy to read like usual, Denki. Denki was still hesitating, so Mina got to her feet and made an awkward smile. Then she grabbed hold of his shirt collar, leaned in, and totally locked lips for all to see. Now the girls really cheered. It's kinda cheating, but it counts, Toru cried in victory. My nah. I always knew she was into him. Ribbit, Tsuyu said confidently. I mean, what took her so long? I heard that, frog girl, Mina retorted. Denki, meanwhile, had his post-electric, derpy face on as he gave the thumbs up. Well, it worked for kissing, too. Hey, Earth to Denki, Bakugo hollered, hands cupped over his mouth. It's your turn, dumbass. Language, Momo cried. But absolutely no one was listening as Denki shook off his derpy face. Mina, meanwhile, was sitting back down, a flustered but happily satisfied look on her face. Okay, my turn, Denki said, putting on a false thoughtful face as he scoped out the room of potential victims. Gee, I don't know. 𝐒𝐭𝐲𝐔𝐠. He jabbed a finger at Bakugo as though accusing him of a mortal crime. Yeah, whatcha want? Bakugo teased with a nasty grin. You know what? Truth or dare, man? Dare me. You ain't squad. Make out with Momo. There were indignant cries. Absolutely never. Momo erupted, waving her arms and going pink in the face. Have you lost your mind, Kaminari? He'd burn her face off, Tsuyu commented as Mei and Itsuka tried to talk Denki down. Denki rolled his eyes. Fine. Truth or dare, Bakugo. Truth. Okay. Did you really write, oh my fair maiden, how my heart burns for thee on a field of flowers of love as a valentine for Momo when we were in middle school? This time the girls broke out in hysterics as Bakugo went brick red and steam issued from his ears. What? How the hell did you know that? He roared. So did you. Denki pressed him. Bakugo pounded the floor with both fists. Fine. Yeah, I did. I had this kinda sorta crush on her in middle school, but that's over with. Arg. Gyro pretended to comfort Momo but was trying hard not to laugh. I'm so sorry, Yaoyorozu. Momo looked mortified and flattered at the same time. Why, I had no idea that was from you, Bakugo. Ochako looked incredulous. You sent it anonymously. One question only. Bakugo barked. It's finally my turn. Momo cleared her throat for the third time. Why not return the favor, Katsuki? Bakugo looked even more riled. Why do you keep butting in, rich girl? Damn. Language. Fine. This game sucks. Bakugo huffed. Denki, truth or dare? Dare me. Because you ain't squad. Denki broke into a wide grin. Bakugo looked like a feral wolf as he made a wider smile, hunched forward. Ask out a girl. The whole house's roof threatened to blow off as everyone erupted at that one. Oh, he's so gonna screw it up, Zero said, barely holding back laughter. He probably doesn't have the nerve, 𝗵𝗃𝐻 commented as everyone else kept laughing or giggling at the ultra-flustered Denki. I do too, Denki cried. You can do it, Denki, Midoriya chimed in. I know you can. You honor me, Izuku, Denki said timidly, trying to avoid everyone's gaze. Maybe a little too much. 𝐭𝐚𝐲's trying to get to you, Midoriya added, which was certainly true. Be better than him, and be honest with yourself. This could be a great opportunity. Well thanks, Steve Harvey, Denki snapped. You make it sound so easy. Yeah, 'cause it is. Midoriya gave him the usual thumbs up. And people started chanting his name like he was a star batter going up to plate at the bottom of the 9th inning. Denki cowered for a few more seconds, but then something clicked in his mind. He whirled around, stood before Mina, and bowed deeply. And Mina, will you go out with me? Mina went red again but broke into a wide smile. Yeah, I will. She held her hands together under her chin. Everyone cheered. I knew he'd have the guts eventually, Tsuyu commented. What are you, psychic? 𝗧𝗏 asked incredulously. I don't know how you magically know these things. That's why you're still single, 𝗧𝗏, Tsuyu added. What was that? Oh, and one other thing, Denki added. And before Mina got a chance to ask what it was, he knelt, gently held her head in his hands, then returned that hot smooch from earlier. That's 2 things in one dare. 𝐻𝗏 yelped. He's disqualified. Oh no he's not, Itsuka said with a wide grin. I'm happy for that doofus. I heard that. Denki roared over his shoulder. Ochako looked stunned, and she turned her incredulous look to Midoriya, who nodded the affirmative. The plan was nearly complete. Ooh, where are you taking her? Toru butted in. I know, the arcade. Those games are germy, Mina said, sticking out her tongue. And I'm the reigning champ at the Dance Dance Revolution game there anyway. Nothing left for me to do. Toru pouted. Show off, she muttered. And Mina, Denki added, still red in the face. I've liked you a long time, you know, and I really liked having you over at my place to study and make out. Toru interrupted. But out, Denki roared again before converting back to his smooth talker voice. I really liked having you come over to study, Mina, and I was always sad to see you go. So, after this date, he braced himself for the next confession. After our date, will you be my girlfriend? Mina actually gasped. Yeah, totally. She made a sly smile. But only if you'll call yourself my boyfriend, Denki. Well, totally. Of course. Denki made a nervous chuckle as he scratched the back of his head. What a party this turned out to be. Momo commented politely to herself, until Itsuka Kendo, who sat next to her, elbowed her. You want your turn, don't you? She teased. Momo nearly choked. What? I didn't say anything about come on, who is it? Shoto Todoroki, cool but mysterious. Or the studly Ada. Or the tough guy Bakugo. Bakugo's ears perked up. Did someone say my name? And no. Momo covered her face as she went pink. I'm too busy studying to think about boys, Itsuka. Then she lowered her hands with an accusatory look. And you never asked me for truth or dare. It seems you're the cheater now. More truth or dare, Kirishima declared. Who's next? Denki cleared his throat. Well, come on, Momo, Toru added. I bet you're into Ida. You're always hanging out with him after class, chatting him up. Ida bolted to his feet. She consults me because she is Class 1A's vice president and I am the representative. He barked, motioning with his hands in weird ways. We are going over ways to make Class 1A even better. Thank you very much. I bet you're into her, too, Toru responded. She is a fine vice president. I can say that much, Ida said with a bit too much bravado. I always knew he was into her, Tsuyu commented. 𝗧𝗏 hung his head. Is everyone pairing up except me? Maybe. Ribbit. Momo sprang to her feet, also motioning with her hands. Oh okay, everyone, I think that's enough fooling around for one day. Why don't we all get together to pose for a photograph to commemorate this wonderful evening? No. More games, Mina declared, thrusting a fist into the air. Games, games, games. More people joined her chant. Momo looked cross. Please, Mina, don't get carried away just because a boy asked you out. This is your birthday party. Rich girl, Denki added, hands in his pockets as he tried to look cool. Time to live it up. Momo hung her head just like 𝗧𝗏 had done. Midoriya felt way too smug to worry about getting embarrassed in the games that came next, which ranged from spin the bottle to a game Toru made up called Who Would Do It. He learned way too much about who would do what, by the way. He could live his life just fine without knowing that Kirishima would eat a whole bucket of earthworms for 1 million yen. Somehow, Momo got everyone under control long enough for a group photo, and she managed to convert their party into a polite evening of snack and chit-chat, where Mina and Denki got the most attention due to their newfound almost relationship. Toru was dying to know what they would do on their first date. And meanwhile Shoto was dying to know when he could leave the party without looking rude. They're so cute together, Ochako commented happily to Bakugo and Midoriya, who hung out near the punch bowl. Just look at them. I knew there was a little chemistry between them when I met them. Good eyes, new girl, Bakugo said casually, sipping his punch. Midoriya smiled. Hey, Ochako, can you keep a secret? Sure. What is it? Midoriya leaned a little closer. That was a matchmaking game of mine. I asked Momo to help me get those two together, and we totally pulled it off. Ochako's eyes widened and she covered her mouth with her hands. For real? Yeah, They've been friends for so long. I think they deserve this chance to be really happy together. Midoriya tried to look saintly as he took a sip from his own punch glass. Here came the plan's final step. You're a really good friend, Deku. You know that, 𝗂𝗧𝗄 said fondly. Midoriya beamed even wider. Thanks, 𝗂𝗧𝗄. Welcome to our class. He prayed that 𝗂𝗧𝗄 would try something, being so inspired by the new 𝗧𝗵𝗲 thing going on, but 𝗂𝗧𝗄 instead turned to Bakugo. Come on, Kaken. Isn't there some girl you're into? Bakugo nearly choked on his drink. What the? 𝗂𝗧𝗄 giggled. It's okay. Like I told Deku, I can keep a secret. Ain't any girl I'm into, Bakugo said gruffly, taking another sip. 𝗂𝗧𝗄 leaned a little closer. Oh, are you playing coy with me, Kaken? Bakugo glanced at Midoriya before responding. Dunno what you're talking about. You're so funny, 𝗂𝗧𝗄 said with another giggle. She took his hand. Come with me. I think that 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗵 girl has another funny story to tell. Bakugo looked bewildered as 𝗂𝗧𝗄 led him deeper into the party, where indeed May was sharing a story about something or other. And at that very moment, just as Midoriya was left alone by the punch bowl, Himiko Toga tracked him down and gently ran her hands along his shoulders. You've been so quiet, darling, she cooed in his ears. Cat got your tongue. She leaned closer and started digging her fingernails into Midoriya's shoulders like a house cat. Midoriya flushed. I am fine. So modest and polite. Toga kneaded Midoriya's shoulders under her fingers. I like a gentleman, you know, someone who can keep a bad girl in line. She snapped her teeth with a wide smile, like a crocodile. Sure. Toga sniffed the air and looked over at May's group. Hey, something interesting's going on, darling. She's like a bloodhound for trouble. Midoriya craned his neck to look over 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝐿's shoulder and spotted the trouble right off the bat. 𝗂𝗧𝗄 was over there, getting flirty with Bakugo for real. As in, toying with her hair and touching him. She was going all in. Here it comes, Toga said just a second before 𝗂𝗧𝗄 raised her voice. Katsuki, will you go out with me? Several of the nearby students looked on in awe as Bakugo froze in place. 𝗂𝗧𝗄, meanwhile, looked super giggly and excited, eager for his answer. May, meanwhile, held her head in her hands, a look of anticipation on her face. Bakugo blinked a few times and worked his jaw. Aye. Yeah, sure. Let's go out sometime. Midoriya was pretty sure his jaw hit the floor and broke right through it. Well, yeah. 𝗂𝗧𝗄 clapped her hands and bounced up and down on the balls of her feet. I can't wait, Katsuki. You can show me around town some more. Why? Yeah, sure. Bakugo looked like he wanted to catch Midoriya's eye, but he ultimately didn't. Instead, he awkwardly chatted up the town's local attractions while Midoriya watched in frozen, stunned horror. He only vaguely registered Toga wrapping her arms around him. Everyone's getting together. This is the best party ever, she said. Isn't it giving you any ideas, Deku darling? Any divine inspiration coming to mind? Midoriya didn't respond. Momo knows how to throw a heck of a party, Toga purred. You don't want to go home alone after this, do you, darling? Midoriya blinked a few times, his chest feeling tight. Himiko, I'll be right back. Bathroom. Oh, okay. Toga slowly withdrew her arms. I'll be around, darling. She cracked another hungry, toothy smile. Midoriya avoided everyone's gazes as he made his way through the crowd. And once he was sure Toga couldn't tell which way he had gone, he slipped out the front door and across the Yaoyorozu house's large front lawn, not stopping until he marched all the way home and through the front door. 𝗏𝗏 looked up from a magazine she was reading on the couch. Oh, Izuku, you're back a bit early, honey. Tired. Midoriya was like a robot as he stormed into his room, shut the door, and flopped flat onto his bed and buried his head into his pillow. He thumped a fist on the mattress. Kaken, you idiot. Midoriya's master plan was to get Mina and Denki together. And while on paper that had been a slam dunk, there were some bonuses, and that's putting it very generously. All I'm saying, Mina said loftily at lunch on Monday, holding up a finger for emphasis, is that you ought to reassess how you present yourself, Aoyama. Girls like a humbler guy who let their actions speak for themselves. Normally, Yuga Aoyama had an unshakable grin on his face. But now, even the sparkle lover had a grimace on his prince-like face. But, it's just who I am, Mina Shuri. I can't stop sparkling just the way the sun can't stop shining. Mina made an irritating tusk-tusk noise like a schoolteacher. Think about how Shoto acts, she told him. He's cool, he's quiet, the quiet type. And most of all, he gets results. If you really like this girl, you have to drop the act and meet her halfway. But, Midoriya sat there quietly, his bite halfway to his mouth as he listened to the insufferable 𝗬𝗏 dispense half-baked advice to anyone who would listen. He normally sat with Mina, Denki, Bakugo, and sometimes Tsuyu, but today, Bakugo sat with 𝗂𝗧𝗄 at a table on the other side of the room, and Aoyama had joined Midoriya's group, and the Sparkle Boy was fast regretting it. It didn't help that Mina was sitting on her boyfriend's lap, turned at a 90-degree angle as she toyed with his hair and kissed his nose every few minutes. And no amount of booing from Gyro could get them to stop. So insufferable. Was this how Dr. Frankenstein felt after he regretted his creation? I was telling Koji earlier today, Mina added, that to get over his shyness, he has to leap right in and ask a girl out. That's what my Denki did. And it worked out great, Denki said smugly. Wait, you told him that? Midoriya said, his eyes wide. Mina, he's not gonna do that. He'll just get even more freaked out. Denki shook his head. Deku, you tried to get the new girl, and you blew it. I'm not sure your advice is the one to follow. Thunk. Midoriya slumped across the table, eyes unfocused as he groaned like the undead. Don't remind me, he muttered. Arrow, through the heart. Mina smiled. Denki, honey, be careful. Deku's new to the game. He's still delicate. Midoriya sat bolt upright so fast he swore he heard a sonic boom. I'm not delicate, he roared, and a few people around him giggled. Of course not, Aoyama said, finally getting his mojo back as he struck a pose. You are refined and sensitive like a true gentleman, Izuku. Magnifique. Denki snorted and finished his lunch. Sorry, my dudes, but you've got a ways to go. Just keep trying, okay? Keep trying. Midoriya peeked over Denki's shoulder and felt his heart freeze when he saw Bakugo and Ochako chatting it up over lunch near the northwest corner of the room. It was over, wasn't it? There was no use inserting more quarters. It was game over, forever. Well, there is always college. Mina opened her mouth to say something else insufferable when the bell for afternoon classes chimed, and the students got up to leave. We have modern art next, right? Mina said as she hopped off Denki's lap and picked up her empty tray. Yeah, gotta visit the bathroom first, Denki grunted as he got up. I'll catch up. Mina smiled and nuzzled Denki's nose with hers. I'll miss you, she said sweetly. Denki returned the favor. I'll miss you more. I'll miss you most of all, my darling dove. I can't go a minute without you, my sweet angel. Aoyama made a face. Manda, he muttered as he shoved back his chair and slouched off. He definitely wasn't glittering or sparkling today. The two-headed Denki, Mina monster had swallowed his aura whole. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Who knew in these crazy times? Anyway, Deku put away his empty lunch tray and shuffled out of the crowded cafeteria with the rest of Class 1A, making sure to avoid Bakugo and Ochako as he went. He just couldn't be around them right now. Deku, hey, oh, what now? Midoriya muttered, speeding up. But the voice was following him, and he actually yelped when a hand seized his shoulder. He stopped and turned to face Himiko Toga. Deku, she said, can we talk? But I have class. I just need a minute. Toga, please. The sudden, desperate tone in her voice cut off Midoriya's irritation and instead made him realize that this could only be about one thing. Damn it, his mother raised him better than that. So, he followed Toga around a corner and into an empty classroom, then shut the door behind him. Toga looked timid as she looked down, toying with her fingers. Deku, look Izuku. Toga looked up, her eyes watering with tears. How could you do that to me? I was so embarrassed. Midoriya felt a chill. Well, Toga, it's Himiko. Okay, Himiko, I'm sorry, okay. Izuku scratched the back of his head and tried to make a watery smile. I screwed up pretty bad. But how could you just run off like that? I thought. Toga bit her lower lip, exposing two of her rather long canines. I thought we had something really special between us, Izuku. I was so happy to go to Momo's Sweet 16 with you, but you think I'm not even worth it. She started crying for real. Nuo. Midoriya definitely started panicking when Toga busted out the tears, and he seized his head, trying to think of what the male lead does in situations like this during those soap operas his mom watches. Think. Forget it, Izuku. Toga choked, wiping her eyes with her uniform sleeve. It's in nothing. What? I have to go to class. Toga rushed past him, wrenched the door open, and disappeared into the crowds, leaving a stunned Midoriya standing there. But wasn't she the one who called him here? Now she runs off. What did he do wrong now? Midoriya sighed. I'm never going to hear the end of this, am I? Oh man, it's definitely game over this time. I think I got kicked out of the entire arcade. He was 2 minutes late to Miss Kayama's art class, but boy did he have anything but Impressionism and its techniques on his mind that day. Not only did Midoriya have to endure an afternoon of Denki, Mina being insufferable, but wondering if Toga was about to vandalize his house in revenge and wondering what Ochako would think of all this. Ochako. He could hardly keep his eyes off her during class, where she quietly sat and took notes like anyone else, answering the occasional question. She was a model student, not someone who fumbles with other people's hearts. She seemed hard to reach by now, like she was in another world, like a dream. Okay, that's enough sentimental talk. But honestly, Midoriya felt like he'd stumbled over some point of no return. Ugh, and he thought this was gonna be his year, too. It was a relief when Bakugo caught up to him after class on the front grounds and asked Midoriya to visit Bottle Bridge with him. On bikes, of course. Midoriya happily accepted the invitation. And 10 minutes later, both boys were pedaling down the neighborhood, and Midoriya already felt better as he pumped his legs on the pedals, the wind rushing past his face the whole time. There was nothing else like it. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, though, was weirdly quiet as the boys cut through one of their usual scenic routes, and he didn't even wave hello like he usually did to the nice old man who owned a little shop on the street. The explosion boy's mind was totally fixed on something else. Although, 20 minutes later, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and 𝗵𝗃𝗧 pulled up at Bottle Bridge, where punks like to drink and hurl their beer bottles over the railing into the large creek below. Today, though, the place was serene, lit by the early evening sun as the trees rustled in the breeze and birds cawed in the distance. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 put down his bike's pedal and wandered to Bottle Bridge's halfway point like he usually did, leaning on the rail as he watched the creek flow 15 feet below him. Unsure what to make of this, 𝗵𝗃𝗧 joined him, also watching the creek's water rush and burble over the rocks and random bottles. "Why don't you trust me, man?" 𝗧𝗵𝗲 finally spoke up. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 turned to look at his best friend. "You've been sulking ever since Momo's fancy pants party, Deku. It's because 𝐒𝐿𝐴 asked me out, right? And you said yes." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 cried. "Kaken, why? You said you weren't into her. And you know that I, damn it, Deku." "It was a heat-of-the-moment kind of decision," 𝗧𝗵𝗲 snapped. "You know I make those. Sure, when you decide to eat a whole cake on a dare or when you jumped off the roof of a moving car into some bushes. But going out with my crush." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 poured every ounce of his hurt into his voice. "Bottling it up just made it stronger. I did it to show her that I ain't the kind of guy she really wants to ask out." 𝗧𝗵𝗲 erupted, gesturing wildly. "She wouldn't leave me alone, Deku. She didn't care jack squat about you because she was into bad boy me. I had to, well, break the illusion. Or whatever." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 gawked, not expecting this angle. "Kaken, he went out with 𝗂𝗏𝗄 just to turn her off. So you dated her just to show how lousy a date you are?" 𝗧𝗵𝗲 nearly had a heart attack. "And no, dude, I mean, I just acted like myself. That's all." He took a breath to calm himself. "Look, Deku, you're a terrific guy, and I really think you deserve a shot with the new girl. But if you ain't gonna trust me with things like this, what's that say about you as a friend?" 𝗵𝗃𝗧 didn't think that 𝗧𝗵𝗲 would turn the tables like this. He swallowed. "My imagination ran wild, Kaken. Put yourself in my shoes for a minute. What, those big red things?" 𝗧𝗵𝗲 cracked a teasing grin as he looked down at 𝗵𝗃𝗧's signature oversized shoes. "Come on, Deku. I'd trust a friend to know what he's doing. I'm the one who's hurt here." "Well, it really looked like you were into her, after all." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 didn't really mean it anymore, though. The anger already felt silly. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 shook his head. "No way. I thought you'd know that I always have your back, Deku. Didn't think I even had to explain myself." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 managed to grin back. "Call me insecure if you want, but a text message about it would have been nice." "Oh, man, you're a piece of work, Deku. Damn crazy kid." 𝗧𝗵𝗲 grinned wider and suddenly got an arm lock on his best friend. He threatened a noogie. "Do I have to scrub the crazy out of you, Deku?" Kaken, stop. Might do you some good, Deku." "Dude." 𝗧𝗵𝗲 let him go and put his hands into his jeans pockets. He shrugged. "Look, if it freaked you out that bad, I'm sorry, okay. Damn, this turned into a big mess, didn't it? Just tell me one thing. Did your plan work? What happened on the date?" 𝗧𝗵𝗲 clapped 𝗵𝗃𝗧 on the shoulder with a big smile. "Relax, Deku. The plan worked out. 𝗂𝗏𝗄 and I are friends, but that's it. I think, well," he glanced away, looking vaguely embarrassed. "I think she found me kind of dense and shallow. She totally put me on a pedestal as some James Dean bad boy. But I'm just a guy with simple tastes. Put another way, I think she got bored of me." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 made a sly smile. "She won't think that if you get your Super 𝗵𝗃𝗲 Blaster Olympics tournament going." 𝗵𝗃𝗲 snorted. "That, I gave up on that idea after my mom wouldn't let me attach an engine and a parachute to my bicycle. Because you're too young for a real motorcycle? Yeah, and also because buying 6 live sharks ain't practical for a 16-year-old Japanese schoolboy." 𝗵𝗃𝗲 chuckled. "That Olympics was gonna be pretty dangerous, now that I think about it. Sometimes my dumb mom really keeps me from blowing myself up." "You're all kinds of humble today, Kaken. And don't you tell anyone." 𝗵𝗃𝗲 erupted. "If anyone heard that, my reputation's toast." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 held a hand over his heart. "As far as everyone else is concerned, you'll definitely host the Super 𝗵𝗃𝗲 Blaster Olympics to celebrate graduation." "That's my boy." 𝗵𝗃𝗲 was quiet for a moment. "So, that Toga girl. I heard through the grapevine that she's crying her eyes out since you ditched her at Momo's party." "That's true." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 looked down at his feet. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 whistled. "Damn, Deku, how many hearts are you gonna break? Kaken, what are you gonna do about her? She's your stalker. You can't avoid her forever." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 pursed his lips. Normally, Toga shadowed him everywhere like a puppy, but was she avoiding him now? Heck, maybe she'd run away if he tried to comfort her. You know, give him a taste of his own medicine. "I dunno, Kaken." "Heck, me neither." 𝗵𝗃𝗲 walked over to his bike and gave 𝗵𝗃𝗧 a slap on the back as he went. "Look, 𝗂𝗏𝗄 is all yours now. But maybe you gotta put out some fires first. That coming from Lord Explosion Murder. That was my dumb nickname from middle school." 𝗵𝗃𝗧 roared from over his shoulder. I ain't that guy anymore. Sure thing, my lord. Ugh, sort out your own mess, heartbreaker Deku. Or I won't be the only one calling you that. Bakugo resumed his teasing grin as he got on his bike. And just for fun, he made engine revving noises. You coming or what, heartbreaker? I swear, this is the last time you'll call me that. Midoriya obliged, getting on his bike and following Bakugo over Bottle Bridge, down the street, and deeper into town. Out here in the outskirts, it was easy to feel at peace with everything. But now Midoriya had to face the music. Facing the music came eerier than expected. Midoriya was just getting into his science homework when the doorbell rang, and he impulsively checked the clock on his wall. 8:02. What the heck? That sure wasn't a pizza delivery. I'll get it, dear, 𝐭 called from the living room. Just keep working on your homework. Sure, Mom. Midoriya tried to sound casual, but his tone changed when he heard a familiar girl's voice at the front door a few seconds later, and he considered jumping out the window and into the bushes when he heard 𝐭 invite the young woman inside and direct her to Midoriya's bedroom. Sure enough, Himiko Toga opened his bedroom door, but she didn't slam it or anything like he expected. Instead, she looked just as meek as she did at school, minus the tears. Okay, things could be worse. Deku darling, can I come in? Toga hovered at the threshold like a vampire, rocking back and forth on her heels. Midoriya closed his science book and stood. Please do. And please don't make a scene. But then again, I started this. Today just won't end. He wondered what the happy-go-lucky doofuses in his class were doing tonight. Then he pictured Denki and Mina's sucking face and he regretted it. Thanks, Deku. Toga crept into the room and sat on his bed, kneeling in the middle, facing Midoriya. She started. I freaked out at school earlier, but I've had time to calm down and think. Deku, I'm sorry, Midoriya blurted out. He rushed over and shut the door before his mom could hear more. I said it earlier, at school, but I mean it. I hurt you, and that wasn't okay. I won't treat you like that again. Toga brightened a bit. Thank you, darling. If I may, She glanced around, clearly thinking hard. Do I bother you? Am I annoying? Midoriya froze like he was the sudden star of a crazy game show. How did he answer that sucker? Or would he give it away on his face? Stupid face. Oh, I know. I'm Himiko the stalker, Toga said with a nervous giggle. I'm sorry too, Deku darling. I know I get kinda carried away, but it's just cause I like you so much, and I was so shy. I hid it by acting crazy all the time. It made things easier, you know. Midoriya wasn't terribly unfamiliar with the idea. Is that why you pop up from behind bushes and from inside trash cans like Oscar the Grouch? That was only once, Toga said defensively. She relaxed and made a watery smile. Deku, should I leave you alone from now on? If you want to be rid of me, you can say so, and I'll understand. There it was. The dangling, ripe fruit of freedom from Toga's stalking. But damn, she made it so he'd feel so guilty. This girl was impossible to negotiate with. But then again, Deku sat down beside her, and he realized how weird it was to be this close to Toga without her forcing it on him. Toga, how come I'm so hard to approach? Why the antics? Toga looked down at her lap. Well, you're so nice, Deku. You're like a ray of light to me, and I was kinda intimidated. I didn't have any serious friends in middle school, and here at high school, everyone knows me as Himiko the nutcase. She made an embarrassed giggle and looked up at Midoriya's eyes. You're so kind and patient and warm, Deku, and it's so different from what I'm used to. I couldn't help but be drawn to you. Midoriya blinked. Different from what? Can you keep a secret? Sure I can. I don't bring people to my house because I don't want them to know what kind of life I have, Toga admitted. She bit her lower lip and looked at the wall ahead of her. My dad divorced my mom 4 years ago and just ran. And my mom took it really hard. She lost her job and took a worse one just to get booze money. And when I'm around her, I'm lucky if all she does is ignore me. She took a deep breath and met Midoriya's eyes again. Deku, there's no love in that house. And my dad wasn't too great, either, when he was around. You're so different from that, and I had to see what it's like. But it was so hard. I covered my feelings up by being the psycho everyone knows me as. Midoriya sat there in stunned silence, absorbing all that. Whoa, this poor girl had it rough, and she didn't even let anyone know. Maybe she didn't want pity. Midoriya took a deep breath. Toga, it's Himiko to you, darling. That hungry smile was already back. Damn, those girls' teeth were like werewolf fangs. Scary. Himiko, I'm sure you don't want a huge pity parade, but I can say for sure that if you need a friend, I'm here for you. Midoriya nodded. Okay, just dial back the stalker business, and I'll be there for you. We could be study partners sometimes, or I could show you my favorite stunt bike places, or I could take you to this little shop down Cherry Road that sells amazing homemade matcha. Himiko blushed bright red and she held her face in her hands. Deku, darling. Midoriya made a casual smile. Heck, this girl wasn't so bad after all. I can be your friend if you can be mine. Toga gasped with sheer delight. And she impulsively grabbed his shoulders and leaned in close, definitely coming in with a hot kiss of passion. Then she stopped just half an inch from Midoriya's lips and drew back, making another shy giggle. "Sorry," she said, toying with her hair. "Why, you don't have to apologize." "Sure I do. The boy I love is interested in another girl," Toga said, that old smile still in place. She kept toying with her hair. "But if you're happy, so am I. That's all I want." "Thanks." Midoriya could have sworn he suddenly shot upwards like a rocket and bounced off the ceiling. And he felt his jaw drop. "Did you say that you love?" "Hush, darling." Toga pressed a finger to his lips. "You're so kind and bright, and I love you for it. But I'm happy just to be with you, either here or if you take me out for homemade matcha. 𝐒𝐻IMIKO. Tell you what, darling." Toga held up that finger for emphasis. "If I can call myself your friend, I'll protect your happiness. You're crazy about that Uraraka girl, right? I'm not surprised. She's as kind and warm as you are." Midoriya thought about Achako's cheerful laugh with her friends. Her inviting smile, how she always asked people how they were doing. He felt his face warm, and Toga was taking in every detail of it. "I can put my love second," Toga said, "if you'll be true to yourself and find happiness. With my blessing." How did it come to this? First, the Bakugo Achako date turned out to be Kaken's master plan to dissolve Achako's interest in him. And now Himiko Toga was joining his team. Did he wake up on Mars? "Himiko, I don't know what to say. How about I swear I'll find happiness no matter what? Or yes, Lady Toga, of course I'll do what you say. I think I know what you'd prefer." "That's the beauty of it, Deku darling." Toga leaned in closer again, a sly look on her face. "I'm fine with either one." Somehow, 𝐭 chose that exact millisecond to open the door. "Izuku, Himiko, it's getting a bit late, oh my." 𝐭 went pink when she saw the neighbor girl leaning in super close to her son's face. "Did I come in at a bad time? Not to mention how you didn't knock." Midoriya drew back a little. It's nothing. Don't worry, I need to go back home anyway. Thanks for letting me in." Toga hopped off the bed and waltzed past 𝐭. "And by the way, Mrs. Midoriya, keep an eye on that Uraraka girl. She's very special, if you know what I mean." She giggled all the way out of the house. 𝐭 made a funny look as she contemplated her son. "Izuku, you've gotten popular this year, haven't you? It's a festival of girls out there." "Okay, that does it." Midoriya dived under the covers and hid himself in a protective cocoon from everyone's attempts to invade his private life. "I'm not here," he declared, reusing an old line from his younger days. "Whatever you say, Mr. Stud." 𝐭's retreating footsteps did nothing to calm Midoriya down. Instead, he threw up his hands in despair and wondered which love god to implore for a little divine intervention. Wasn't anyone listening? Having class together with Achako was still a little awkward in the wake of Momo's birthday party gate. But Bakugo's gruff yet kind words also rattled around in Midoriya's head. So the end result was that he usually buried his face in a book whenever Achako looked at him, just in case he had a guilty expression. At one point, he accidentally smacked his nose with his history book while doing this, and might have found that way too funny until Tsuyu gave him her usual tongue slap. "Listen up, everyone," Aizawa said on the morning of October 1st as homeroom started. "Today is the annual job fair, so after 5th period lets out, all students are to report to the gymnasium for the fair, and be on their best behavior. You all should make a good impression to the recruiters." Ida bolted to his feet, saluting. "Of course, teacher," he cried. "Leave it to us. We will listen quietly and not make a big fuss. You can count on me." "No big fuss, huh?" Kirishima commented, plugging his ears. Sometimes, Midoriya could have sworn Ida had the vocal cords of a fire alarm. Momo stood, too. "I'm so excited," she said breathlessly, a hand over her heart. "This is a chance to glimpse our futures and see who we will become. Oh, I hope it goes well." "That's the spirit, Yaoyorozu," Ida cried, whipping around to face her, doing his funny I'm in serious mode motions with his arms. "Today, we shall discover our future together." "It sounds like you want to marry her, Ida," Tsuyu commented. Ida went bright red. And this time he directed his funny I'm in serious mode motions at the frog girl. "Oh, of course not. I only meant, she and I are on the verge of a great discovery, and I want to share that moment with her." Minta snorted. Now that sounds like Tsuyu's tongue was fast. But Gyro was faster. She whirled around and crammed her pencil case right into Minta's mouth. Bullseye. The shorter kid could only manage MMMMMF, which was a total relief. "Well, I, at least, appreciate our class representative's enthusiasm," Momo said fondly, and this time she had both hands over her heart. "Don't you all?" There was a general mutter of maybe. "Aren't you all looking forward to the job fair?" Momo pressed them. There was a general mutter of kind of. "Fine," Momo pouted. "Don't take the initiative. See where it takes you." She sat, arms folded, looking away in a totally pretentious manner. Ada reluctantly sat back down, adjusting his glasses. "I expect more out of you all," he said, but the class was just giggling at him by now. "That job fair is important." "No, what's important is getting red bean buns in the cafeteria today before they run out," Denki said, actually salivating as he rubbed his hands together. Zero sat up straight, eyes wide. "Holy crap, It's bean bun day already. I want to. Mina cheered, raising a fist. 3. Toru added, I'm allergic to red beans. 𝗵𝗃𝗁𝐥 hung his head. Mina patted him on the back. I'm sorry, 𝗵𝗃𝗁𝐥. I'll always remember you. I am not dying. 𝗵𝗃𝗁𥥗 yelped. Mina simply giggled. Well, study quietly until first period, Aizawa said. Get to work, everyone. Rikido Sato raised his hand. Sir. Aizawa blinked. What is it, Sato? Sato grinned with those thick lips of his. Sir, you seem a bit perky today. Did you have a coffee on the way to work? I did, actually. If you have to visit the bathroom, sir, we totally understand. We'll be fine in here, now that you mention it. Aizawa hurried out the room and slammed the door behind him. Kirishima snorted with laughter. Good one, Sato. Sato looked stunned. I didn't think that would work. And just like that, the class erupted into general chatter, no paper notes needed. Freedom. Guys, see me a second, Denki said, motioning to a few of his classmates. I've got a secret. Nice. Bakugo sprang from his seat and joined Denki at the far wall. And Midoriya joined them with Shiro and Aoyama. Denki motioned for everyone to huddle together, all secret-like. At once, his happy-go-lucky face dissolved into panic. Guys, he whispered urgently. Bakugo scowled. We can already hear you, loser. Spit it out. Denki scowled back. Since you asked so nicely. I've got a problem here. Yes, I know, Aoyama said. Denki blinked. For real? Then what should I do? You should switch to anti-dandruff shampoo, Monami. Denki nearly choked. What the hell, man? Aoyama made a sparkling wink. You're welcome. No, that's not it. Although I could stand to follow that advice. Denki scratched at his electric yellow hair. But seriously, listen. Mina's been great. It's awesome having a girlfriend. Midoriya made a face. Way to rub it in. I mean. Denki swallowed. I've never had a serious girlfriend before, and I don't want to screw this up. But all we've done is, holding hands and stuff. A lot more stuff, Bakugo said with another scowl. One of these days, his face would get stuck like that. Yeah, but none of it's serious, Denki admitted, going pink in the face. I don't know what to do. I think Mina wants some big romantic gesture, but I can't figure one out. She's gonna get bored of me, man. If you start crying, I'll throw you out that window, Bakugo teased, jerking his head at the nearest window, which was definitely Denki Kaminari-sized. Seriously, Denki hissed. Help a guy out here. Take her to the amusement park, Shiro put in. Denki shook his head. No, she gets motion sickness really easily. Just mentioning roller coasters makes her faint. How about a cafe? Midoriya put in. Fresh air, a classy vibe, nice drinks. But that's kinda cliche, Denki complained. And I'm not great at making a lot of small talk. Yeah, 'cause you keep getting your mouth stuck on Mina's face, Bakugo put in. For good reason, Denki said with a smirk. What about a cooking class? Midoriya tried. That's not bad, Denki said. But what about something free? Broke as ever, Bakugo commented. I don't hear any bright ideas from you, Denki said sourly. What did you do on your date with your Araka? Give me some ideas here. Midoriya flinched and he felt his heart race. Frud. He just barely managed to forget how Bakugo and Ochako had dated, and now this. Took her to the movies, Bakugo said casually. Then we sat in the park and talked for a while. Wasn't that fun? Shiro grinned. Is that a comment on her dating skills or yours? Don't even try to insult her. Midoriya hissed. Shiro's grin widened. Sorry, Deku. Didn't know you cared so much. He's into the Uraraka girl, Bakugo said simply. Denki cracked a wide grin just like Shiro's. Whoa, for real. That's hilarious. Midoriya made an irritated. And what is so funny about it? Ah, that is so beautiful, Midoriya. Aoyama exclaimed. Surely you should romance her. But how? Midoriya said urgently. Things are already complicated. She doesn't like how I ditched Toga at Momo's birthday party, and she might still have feelings for Kaken. Damn, that is a tough one, Shiro admitted. I'm stumped, Deku. Is there some reason we're not talking about me anymore? Denki complained. I dated her just so she'd get bored of me, Bakugo bragged. Clever, huh? That's 'cause I'm Deku's wingman. Now he's her only option left. That's such an unflattering way to put it, Midoriya groaned. But hey, it's kinda true, ain't it? Bakugo pressed him. Okay, yeah. And you still want to get with her, right? Midoriya felt himself going redder. Why yeah, I do. She's so kind and smart and pretty. She's captivating. Magnifique. My heart melts, Aoyama said dramatically. Midoriya, love must triumph. Surely you will find a way. That's the hope, Midoriya said. But I don't think I have an angle. And neither will I, at this rate, Denki said bitterly. Denki, just ask one of the girls for date ideas, Bakugo said impatiently. And Deku, come on. You're cool. You're a pal. Just study with Ochako, or pet sit for her dog, or take her out on a bike ride. You like doing stuff for your friends, right? Like that time he watched over Hatsum's store for 2 days straight, Shiro said with a chuckle. Aoyama blinked. What happened? Bakugo made a toothy grin. She made him stay in the store for 10 minutes while she ran an errand. Then 10 minutes turned in an hour, which turned into an afternoon, which turned into an overnight shift, which turned into 2 solid days. There was nothing to do in that store. Midoriya cried, agonizing over the memory. I missed 3 meals. See, you're stubbornly loyal to your friends, Bakugo encouraged him. It's also like that time you babysat Tsuyu's kid brother and sister while she was at a swim meet. They tore out half my hair, Midoriya said sadly. I had to wear a hat for so long. But you get the point, Bakugo said. You'll think of something, Deku. Just hang in there. Midoriya actually did feel a little better. Okay, sure. Thanks. And break, Bakugo said. And the 5 boys split up the huddle just in time for Aizawa to re-enter the classroom. Phew, wound up visiting the teacher's lounge to catch up with Coach Yagi, Aizawa said, right before he took in the whole scene. His eyes flared red. Is there some reason you're all gossiping and getting out of your seats? And is that a paper airplane? Gyro had been throwing paper airplanes the whole time, aiming for targets that Kirishima drew on the chalkboard, and she was poised to throw another. She made an embarrassed smile. Busted, she said nervously. Aizawa swept his furious gaze from the 5 boys out of their seat to Sato, who was sitting on the windowsill, eating a cupcake. Detention. All 20 of you, he roared. Congratulations, you made me raise my voice. Pray this never happens again. Midoriya meekly slumped back into his seat as Aizawa stormed over to his own desk. What a disaster, he moaned. Ochako giggled. Don't feel bad, Deku. At least we're all on equal grounds, right? I guess. Midoriya gave her a grateful look. Sorry, this class is crazy. It'll get you in trouble sometimes. Ochako smiled. That's okay. I got in a little trouble a few times at my old school, too. Sometimes a girl just has to have fun, right? Yeah, I think so. Midoriya smiled back, his heart soaring. What was this? Were things turning around for poor, downtrodden Midoriya at long last? Or was Ochako hiding her outrage at getting detention under a calm facade? Who knew? Maybe she had a huge temper. If she did, maybe she should date Kaken again. Midoriya shook his head to clear it. No, eyes on the prize. I'm just glad you're in a good mood, he wound up saying. Hey, I said be quiet. Aizawa snapped, and both Midoriya and Ochako fell silent. But not even Aizawa's bad mood could dampen Midoriya's spirits today. Sure enough, after 5th period was wrapped up, Midoriya joined the crowd of his fellow students to the gymnasium. And Aizawa wasn't kidding, this place was packed. There's so many booths, Shoto commented simply, hands in his pockets when Class 1 entered the gym with the other classes around them. I'm not sure where I should start. Oh, I know. Ida got a manic glint in his eye as he raced off, and he was already chatting up the rep from a fitness company that specialized in running. Wasn't that cheating? Got any idea where to start? Bakugo asked Midoriya. Anything look good to you? Hard to say. Midoriya held his chin and glanced down as he reviewed his options. I have no quirk, so maybe something more like an office job. But there are quirks that are useful in an office, too. Well, maybe a counseling job or life coaching. People have said that I'm so helpful to them. But then again, I like athletics, so maybe a personal trainer for people without performance-enhancing quirks. That could be it, unless he was wrapped up in his own world, unaware that Bakugo, Ochako, and Mina were all watching him. I kind of like animals, but people with animal quirks have better affinity with them. Or maybe I could revisit the office job idea and find something like financial planning or working for a staffing agency. Since I like people, Earth to Deku, Mina cried, cupping her hand around her mouth. But it was no good. Midoriya was muttering too hard and too fast to even make sense. He was like an overheating computer, and the circuit boards were smoking. Ochako gently held Midoriya's hand and lowered it. Deku, it's okay, she said with a bracing smile. I'm sure you'll find something. Won't know until you look, right? There may be the perfect thing here for you. I sure hope so, Bakugo said warily. Because Deku here will go all day. He's missed meals before. Trying to distract me with junk food doesn't count as missing meals, Midoriya shot back, but he couldn't help a grin. Are you jealous of my planning skills? Deku, the day I'm jealous of that, I'll buy glasses and steal the class rep job from Ida. What? Ida zoomed over, boosted with his quirk, panting. Did you challenge me for the position of class representative? Katsuki Bakugo. Should I start my political campaign right now? Bakugo made a face. You can't take a joke, can you? I think that's enough, don't you? Momo looked annoyed as she took hold of Ida's shirt collar and dragged him off. She waved to the others. Don't let us bother you. Enjoy the job fair. Midoriya sighed. Sometimes I wonder what being in some other school would be like. Quiet, I'm guessing. Ochako giggled. No way, Deku. I love this school and everyone in it. Let's find some booths to visit. Okay. Midoriya couldn't say no to that radiant face. You got it. But alas, nothing really stood out to Midoriya, and not to Bakugo either, not even a company that specialized in explosions for mining and tunnel digging. And all the while, Denki and Mina were ignoring the booths entirely and making out in the corner. At least 𝐒𝐭𝐴𝐵 got something out of all this. Look, 𝐒𝐴𝐵 practically squealed with delight when she found a construction company, and she rushed right over to introduce herself. "Welcome," the man said kindly. "We're a contract construction company for I know. Watch this." 𝗂𝐴𝐵 was all smiles when she reached out and touched a 2x4 that acted as a material sample. To Midoriya's amazement, the piece of wood floated gently into the air like a balloon, slowly turning over as though it were in space. "Out of this world." The man clapped. "Fantastic. Is that a zero-gravity quirk you're using?" "Yeah, look." 𝗂𝐴𝐵 also touched a brick, a hammer, and some nails, and the objects floated up, and up some more, all the way to the ceiling. "Oops, I can't control it that well yet," 𝗂𝐴𝐵 said with a shy giggle. She touched all her fingertips together, and the floating stuff came crashing back down, and the nails all landed right around 𝗵𝘃𝗁 like bullets. "What the hell?" 𝗵𝘃𝗁 erupted. "You trying to kill me?" "Sorry." 𝗂𝐴𝐵 tried to get the nails out of the wooden floor, but they had sunken pretty deep. Good thing they missed, because Midoriya didn't exactly have 𝗵𝘃𝗁's eulogy written yet. It would probably have a lot of puns. The man still looked impressed. "With some training, young lady, you could be very useful for construction. I urge you to consider it. My parents run a construction company," 𝗂𝐴𝐵 said as she patted the enraged 𝗵𝘃𝗁's head to calm him down. "I learned a lot from watching the workers on project sites." They went on for a while until 𝗂𝐴𝐵 led the boys onwards, continuing the noble quest to find their dream jobs. Still, Midoriya didn't see much of interest, but something else interesting was going on. "Mom, you're here, too," 𝐒𝐻𝐽IRO said, her eyes wide when she happened by a rock band's booth. A woman in her mid-30s smiled. "𝗂𝐴𝐵, honey, is that any way to greet your mother?" "Sorry," 𝗬𝗻 said, "but I thought you guys were too busy for this." "Ain't much use until we find a new electrician," a bandmate said gruffly. "Can't find a new guy worth a damn." That was the magic word. 𝗳𝗃𝐽𝐻𝗵𝗲, the lightning-slinging doofus, rushed over with Mina in tow, an eager look on his face. 𝗳𝗃𝐽𝐻𝗵𝗲, "Nice to meet you guys." 𝗳𝗃 bowed hastily. "I love electric work and stuff. I used to fix radios and computers when I was younger. I know electronics inside and out." 𝗬𝗻 snorted. "Since when do you have the smarts for that?" 𝗳𝗃 gave 2 thumbs up. "It's my hidden talent, my saving grace. I suck at homework, but I know wires and electricity. Please hire me." "Yeah, you should," Mina added, wrapping her arms around 𝗳𝗃. "I'm Mina Ashido, his girlfriend. My 𝗳𝗃 is a genius. Come on, why not give him a chance?" The gruff bandmate looked skeptical. "Kid, our gear is pretty advanced." Mina put on her best puppy dog eyes. "Please, my 𝗳𝗃 can do anything. He's been waiting for a special opportunity like this. It would make him so happy." "I'm not sure, kid." Midoriya knew that baby talk was Mina's next step, and he did not want anyone to hear that. He rushed over. "Hey there, Izuku, Midoriya here. I've seen 𝗳𝗃 work on anything with wires that he could find. Did he tell you about the time he dug an old amp out of the trash and got it working?" 𝗳𝗃 clapped a hand to his forehead. "Duh, how did I forget that? It's super relevant." A woman, who seemed to be 𝗬𝗻's mom, gave 𝗳𝗃 an appraising look. "Maybe I could bring you in as an unpaid intern and test you out. I'm Mika 𝗬𝗁, by the way, lead guitarist and co-manager with my husband. Will you impress me, 𝗳𝗃𝐽𝐻𝗵𝗲?" 𝗳𝗃 threw up both hands in joy. "Yeah, I'll do anything to get the job. I'll even wash your car." Mina gently lowered her boyfriend's arms. "𝗳𝗃, honey, I don't think bargaining is your strong suit." She looked at Mika 𝗬𝗁 with a smile. "Thank you so much for this. He won't let you down." "Well, aren't you the sweetest thing?" Mika chuckled behind her hand. "Ashido, was it?" "Yeah, I'm like a rock star's girlfriend. It's fun." Mina waved her arms, beaming. "What do you call that in the showbiz?" "Nothing in particular," 𝗂𝐴𝐵 said. "And my mom's the rock star, mind you. Your blockhead boyfriend just fixes things." Mika scowled. "𝗂𝐴𝐵, be nice to your classmates." "Sorry, Mom." "Don't mind her," Mika told 𝗳𝗃 and Mina. 𝗂𝐴𝐵 was never very good at showing happiness for others. "Mom," 𝗂𝐴𝐵 went pink, stomping a foot. "There you go, 𝗳𝗃." Midoriya clapped 𝗳𝗃 on the back. "Looking forward to it." "Only heck yeah." 𝗳𝗃 threw up 2 pairs of devil's horns, and 𝗂𝐴𝐵 sighed and slapped a hand over her face. It looked like 𝗳𝗃 might miss some bicycle trips to work on this new gig. But heck, he deserved this, and by the time the job fair was over, Midoriya was feeling pretty good about everything. Then, once the final bell for school rang to let everyone out, 𝗂𝐴𝐵 caught up to Midoriya on the school's sprawling front grounds. "Deku, hey," she cried, waving an arm to get his attention as she jogged toward him. 𝗂𝐴𝐵, Midoriya felt a thrill in his stomach as he stopped to wave back. Hi yourself." 𝗂𝐴𝐵 stopped just a few feet in front of him, looking a bit shy. "Hey, Deku, can we talk?" All kinds of excited and nervous thoughts raced around Midoriya's head like little race cars, but he did his best to ignore them. "Yeah, sure. What's on your mind?" 𝗂𝐴𝐵 gave him an appraising look. "Izuku, I think I might have misjudged you. Huh, was she about to criticize him? No, I mean, even when I first met you, I could tell that you're such a nice person, 𝗂𝗧𝗄 said slowly, as though figuring out the words as she went. Well, when you ditched 𝗧𝗵𝗲 at Momo's party, she was really upset, and I was sure that I had you all wrong, that you were a horrible person. This was getting tense. Where was 𝗂𝗧𝗄 going with this? 𝗂𝗧𝗄 brightened, but Katsuki explained everything on our date. You're not a bad guy, Deku. You just got overwhelmed, right? And you felt so bad about leaving 𝗵𝗄 there. I could tell just from watching you over the last few days. Midoriya pounced on his chance to set this poor record straight at last. Thanks, 𝗂𝗧𝗄. You're right. I hurt 𝗵𝗄, and I really do regret what I did to her. I swear, I normally don't do stuff like that. I made it up to her, and we're kind of friends now. We're cool. 𝗂𝗧𝗄 nodded. Okay, I trust you, Deku, and I'm glad to hear that. There was an awkward moment of silence. Deku. 𝗂𝗧𝗄 blushed and looked down, shifting her feet nervously. Do you? I mean. She looked up and blurted out, do you like me, Deku? Midoriya wasn't ready for that one. He resisted the urge to back up. He was going red too, and he was sure that his face was giving everything away. 𝗂𝗧𝗄 made a shy giggle. I mean, we're neighbors, and you've been trying so hard to impress me. What do you mean? Oh, please. How you made such a show of getting Denki and Mina together at the party, being their good friend, and acting so cool and tough on our bike trips. And how you gave your friendship to the scary Bakugo when no one else wanted to be his best friend. Midoriya chuckled nervously. I think you got me there. I thought I was so clever. I had friends like that at my old school, people who always put others first, 𝗂𝗧𝗄 said. And you know what? What? 𝗂𝗧𝗄 leaned forward and actually kissed his cheek. They were my favorites. Midoriya put a hand to the kiss spot and stood rooted in place as 𝗂𝗧𝗄 turned and skipped off. I'll see you tomorrow, Deku. She cried over her shoulder. Why, yeah, see you. Midoriya waved weakly with his free hand, his heart going a mile a minute. Heck, maybe 2 miles. Did that really just happen? Was he breaking new ground with the literal girl next door? He had it wrong before. This was definitely going to be his year.